the next level after coming up just short of being #1 contender. Will he bounce back or find himself out-dueled by the heavily decorated Dragon Gate veteran? Bryan Keith and Masaaki Mochizuki stand toe-to-toe for the first time ever. Who will come out on top Sunday, December 3rd at West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster?
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster. A tag team match for the ages. Kevin Blackwood and Titus Alexander versus Chris Hero and Kenta. The aesthetic crippler will be bringing all of his vicious and malicious combat prowess with him to achieve victory. Teaming with Blackwood, the now former champion Titus Alexander. The franchise will be fresh off his tour of Japan and looking to restake his claim in West Coast Pro. After a 3.5-year hiatus, Chris Hero is back and putting everyone on notice. The Knockout Artist threw down the gauntlet. A monster tag team match in the City of Angels. Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster. Two young guns looking to climb the ladder of West Coast Pro and over one another. Jiah Jewell versus Ishmael Vaughn. The last time West Coast Pro came to LA, Big Ish made an even bigger first impression. He turned a lot of heads and left even more destruction in his wake. But standing opposite him is the crazy Cajun Jiah Jewell. The unorthodox kid from the Bayou isn't just happy to be here, and he has been feasting on his opportunities. He's coming off the biggest win of his career over the aesthetic crippler, Kevin Blackwood. Big Ish versus the crazy Cajun. Whose hunger will make them a monster? Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
Y'all thought it was all talk.
Here are your winners, Los Suavecitos!
And they are victorious tonight.
Yeah, clearly.
All hail the kings of the West Coast.
After the killing move from Jacob Fatu,
the freshest little essays out the trenches, the hardest essays ever. Your Highness wet dream.
Straight up, because now we run the coast.
Man, straight up. Like we were Freeway Rick Ross, and this was the 1980s. What's good?
Straight up, what's good? It all started 1 year ago, here at West Coast Pro against y'all, the West Coast Wrecking Crew. That night, we found out that we can't get in y'all's heads, because you fools ain't like the other fools that we punked out.
That night, we knew that we had to take the long way. That night, the chess game begun. And no matter us taking off and becoming one of the hottest tag teams out, we still haven't been able to beat y'all. But it's funny how things always circle back around. Because here we are, December 3rd, in our city.
Straight up, from the gutters, but not where the rats be at.
Straight up, we've been plotting. We've been hitting licks here at the coast. Put everything in the bag. December 3rd, West Coast Wrecking Crew. Checkmate! Bow to the kings!
First line of order, take West Coast off your name, cause we run it.
Straight up. And after that, we're going back to the Bay. And so you NorCal fools can understand, we shooting for the top. Like we're number 30 Steph Curry, shooting from any range.
Straight up. The heist continues. All hail the Citos!
And by that comes the West Coast Pro Tag Team Championships. Crown the Kings! Crown the Kings now, huh? Y'all think we playing Crown the Kings now, huh? LA runs NorCal, what's good?
Straight up.
Aquí en West Coast Pro.
Los Suavecitos, tornamos todo.
Y'all punk ass forgot.
Monster. The West Coast Pro Women's title is on the line as Takumi Iroha defends against Lightning in a Bottle Sandra Moone. Iroha had instant success since coming to the coast from Marvelous and made history by dethroning Masha Slamovich to become women's champion. Who can possibly now knock Iroha off her perch atop the mountain? Could it be Sandra Moone? as she returned to West Coast Pro and became #1 contender at Whiplash. She's been so close to the gold before, but this time, can she catch lightning in a bottle and finally capture the title? Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster, and we bring you a first-time ever clash as the bounty hunter Bryan Keith will tangle with Masaaki Mochizuki. Keith, of course, is no stranger to the coast, but now he finds himself in somewhat unfamiliar territory. He's looking to get back on track and reach the next level after coming up just short of being #1 contender. Will he bounce back or find himself out-dueled by the heavily decorated Dragon Gate veteran? Bryan Keith and Masaaki Mochizuki stand toe-to-toe for the first time ever. Who will come out on top? Sunday, December 3rd at West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster, a tag team match for the ages. Kevin Blackwood and Titus Alexander versus Chris Hero and Kenta. The aesthetic crippler will be bringing all of his vicious and malicious combat prowess with him to achieve victory. Teaming with Blackwood, the now former champion Titus Alexander. The franchise will be fresh off his tour of Japan and looking to restake his claim in West Coast Pro. After a 3.5-year hiatus, Chris Hero is back and putting everyone on notice. The Knockout Artist threw down the gauntlet. A monster tag team match in the City of Angels. Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster. Two young guns looking to climb the ladder of West Coast Pro and over one another. Jiah Jewell versus Ishmael Vaughn. The last time West Coast Pro came to LA, Big Ish made an even bigger first impression. He turned a lot of heads and left even more destruction in his wake. But standing opposite him is the crazy Cajun Jiah Jewell. The unorthodox kid from the Bayou isn't just happy to be here, and he has been feasting on his opportunities. He's coming off the biggest win of his career over the aesthetic crippler, Kevin Blackwood. Big Ish versus the crazy Cajun. Whose hunger will make them a monster? Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
Y'all thought it was all talk.
Here are your winners, Los Suavecitos!
And they are victorious tonight.
Yeah, clearly.
All hail the kings of the West Coast.
After the killing.
Hello and welcome everyone. We are all the way live in Los Angeles at the Don Quixote. This is West Coast Pro Wrestling. This is Monster. I am James Kincaid alongside Jordan Castle. Great to see you again. We have a great card for you tonight, including a jam-packed double main event. The West Coast Pro Champion, Starboy Charlie, defends against Jack Cartwheel, but then a tag team match for the ages. Yes, Chris Hero is back, but tonight he won't be alone. Making his West Coast Pro debut, Kenta taking on Kevin Blackwood and the returning franchise former champion, Titus Alexander. Jordan, what do you got to say about tonight? And welcome to the coast.
James Kincaid, I am so happy to be alongside you, my friend, but forgive me, perhaps even happier to finally be a part of the coast. And with a card like tonight, it's hard not to see why.
No doubt about it. So much action for you tonight, so I will give way to Elijah Rutsky. Let's light it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live at the Don Quixote in lovely Los Angeles, California. This is West Coast Pro Wrestling, and tonight we bring you Monster! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, without this time, we are going to begin with our opening contest. Our opening contest is a singles match scheduled
for what I thought would be Ishmael, Vaughn, and Jiah Jewell, but that is decidedly not either of their music. That is music one, Johnnie Robbie, coming out with Suavecitos in tow. So already sort of going off the rails here in the early going. Johnnie sending Suavecitos to the back, coming out alone, maybe calling an audible is Johnnie Robbie. Looks like it, I think you're right, and the crowd, the partisan SoCal crowd very behind Johnnie Robbie, and yes, she has a microphone. So let's hear from the exception.
I'd like to bring out Mio, who was supposed to be my opponent tonight.
Supposed.
So if Mio, if you don't mind coming out here, I'd like to talk to you and everyone else.
Johnnie Robbie calling for Momono, her scheduled opponent tonight.
Not sure what is on the mind of Johnnie Robbie again calling an audible, and there's Mio.
Thank you. As you can see, I am not just to compete. As some of you may have read online, that I have an injury. See, I was mad before, but now I'm pissed. Because no one speaks on me or for me besides me. See, because yeah, I am injured. But an injury so bad that I'm lucky to be walking, let alone speaking right now. So when I say I'm pissed, believe that shit. Because the one thing I worked the hardest for, the one thing I put my all into, is gone in the blink of an eye. All those sleepless nights, coming home at 4 a.m. just to be up at 4:30, don't mean shit because I have to start over. All those hours in the ring and in the gym don't mean shit because I have to start over. See, no one took me serious at first. I went out there. I showed them who I was. I caused all the trouble. I signed up to be trained by the best in the world. And it was all starting to pay off. It's all starting to pay off. I was proving that I can go toe to toe with the best. From Takumi to Masha and what should have been you, Mio. You were supposed to be my biggest test. But you know what? That time will come. I don't know when I'll be back because I now have to see a neurologist because of the injury. But when I come back, I refuse to have any other opponent other than you, Mio. So, if you will you please be my opponent whenever I come back?
Johnnie Robbie announcing she has been injured, has to see a neurologist. Heartbreaking stuff from Johnnie Robbie and the showing of sportsmanship. Yeah, we wish Johnnie Robbie to get well soon. It's terribly sad. Not what we expected to start things off here. And then embrace of the crowd as well. Not only the embrace in the ring, and again, more. Come on, that is more what was expected from Johnnie Robbie. Where she goes, trouble follows, and Mio just found out the hard way. Johnnie injured, but doesn't look content. He's trying to injure Mio in the process, but yeah, Rachel Ellering making the save, very timely. Thankful for Rachel Ellering because Johnnie Robbie had some bad intentions for Mio there, trying to take out her frustration on what would have been her opponent. But Rachel Ellering, like I said, making the save. God, things going wild here already at Monster.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. But I have today no much. Very sad. Very, very sad. Rachel, you have costume?
Always have costumes.
Do you want to have lunch with me? Mio,
I'd love to have a match with you.
Mio called the question.
Scotto. Where Scotto? Scotto. Okay, Mio, Rachel, match. Yeah!
Scott Brigante says yes, match official.
Okay, see you in the ring.
Neo Momono and Rachel Ellering. And, you know, Rachel, I mean, the first rule, always bring your gear, paying off. What a matchup that will be. I wish her the best in her recovery. I don't know if I, beyond that.
This is Rachel Ellering.
It's tough to say, but yes, that match has been made official.
Now it is time for your opening contest, which is a singles match scheduled for one fall.
Elijah Rutsky tries to get us back on track, back on program here. Again, thank you all for joining us live. Hashtag West Coast Monster as you follow along. I am James Kincaid alongside Jordan Castle, calling all the action here from Los Angeles and the Don Quixote. And the last time we were here, West Coast Pro Wrestling, this man turned a lot of heads.
Weighing in at 245 pounds, it's that big funny-ish Ishmael.
Impressed in a big way. Coming out victorious Ishmael Vaughn looking to make a big statement here. Like I said, he turned a lot of heads in his West Coast Pro debut. Now looking to build off of that at the expense of somebody who has been turning heads in his own right and seizing every opportunity, the crazy Cajun, Jiah Jewell.
He's going to make a big statement. And what a big man he is. I'm not sure a live stream does it justice. This is a mountain of humanity.
Yeah, big money-ish. Certainly is all of that, like you said, but will be put to the test against that crazy Cajun, the man from the Bayou, Jiah Jewell.
Making his way to the ring from Modesto, Louisiana, weighing in at 185 pounds, here's the crazy Cajun, Jiah Jewell.
Jiah Jewell is coming off absolutely the biggest win of his young career at Whiplash. He stunned Kevin Blackwood and picked up the victory after the Gator twist. And he stunned Kevin Blackwood. I think Jiah Jewell stunned himself a little bit. I was talking with him, said he could scarcely believe it. And then, you know, of course, the aftermath of that, Kevin Blackwood attacking Jiah Jewell, left laying, but can't take it away from Jiah Jewell. He holds that victory over Blackwood. And now looking to build off that momentum, trying to sort of climb the mountain now that is big money-ish. There is the bell. We are underway here at West Coast Pro Monster.
Yeah, interestingly enough, James Kincaid, the post-match assault from Kevin Blackwood, these sour grapes after Jewell's upset win at Whiplash is part of what led matchmaker Chris Hero to make one half of our double main event. Of course, the knockout artist teaming with Kenta against the aesthetic crippler and the returning franchise former heavyweight champion Titus Alexander. The match might not be happening tonight if not for Blackwood's actions towards Jewell.
Well, both Titus and Blackwood have been thorns in the side of Chris Hero, still our head matchmaker. And yes, that has led to that tag team matchup. But right now, got a great one cooking here in open contest, going for that gator roll. Signature of Jiah. Jewell loves to hit that gator roll as early as possible, but a big-time back body drop from Big Money Ish.
Yeah, Betty didn't love that, and Betty doesn't love these shots to the face. So much power, so much intensity behind the reigning Pandemonium Pro Wrestling champion. Look at Jewell here, James.
Taking Big Money Ish off his feet for a moment, falling in, big-time pump kick into the ropes. Goes Big Money Ish looking for a bulldog, but Vaughn put the stop to that, but Jiah Jewell still moving, repositioning, looking crossbody, but Vaughn able to catch him.
It took a second.
Who hesitates, is lost, and headfirst into the corner turnbuckle. Yeah, that hesitation was costing Jiah Jewell in a big way, and a big boot just sends the pupils of Jiah Jewell scrambling around in his head, and he is down and he is hurt.
Well, that's the thing, James. Ishmael Vaughn is big, he's strong, he's also smart. You give him an inch, he'll take a mile, and that's exactly what we saw there.
And capitalizing on it right now is Vaughn as he follows Jewell to the outside where he had deposited the Cajun just moments ago.
A product of the Nightmare Factory as well as Santino Brothers here in Los Angeles. Some world-class training for Ishmael Vaughn, paying off in a big way.
Just stove it in, or attempted to, the chest of Jiah Jewell. God, what a sickening sound that made, and sending Jiah back into the ring.
Okay, Jiah Jewell, excellent professional wrestler, especially for how little time he has been wrestling. He's not the largest dog in the fight.
Certainly not easy there with someone like Vaughn, who continues to just slam away at the chest of Jewell, whipping him from one corner into the other, and charging in, grabbing him for what, backbreaker perhaps, or no, and sidewalk slam, dead center of the black and blue of West Coast Pro, targeting that back right now.
The agony on the face of Jiah Jewell.
And some style points with the pin, the push-up pin, not gonna get it done, but using all that body weight, hooks the leg, 2 count, and not yet 3. Jiah Jewell able to get the shoulder up, but Ishmael Vaughn just looking like $1 million right now in there against one of the up-and-comers of West Coast Pro.
Hey James, let me ask you, do you think Ishmael Vaughn is maybe underestimating Jiah Jewell a little bit? We saw that flashy, lackadaisical cover, maybe more show than go with those push-ups. Is he maybe taking the Crazy Cajun for granted?
I think he's feeling it right now. It has been all Vaughn, but as soon as I say that, Jewell able to score the reversal and a pair of chops, looking to make it a trio. Yes, Jewell turning things around now and looking to whip it. Just the power of Vaughn is just too much, but the agility of Jiah landing on his feet on the apron.
He's going to have to use that agility. He's going to have to use that tenacity. It's the only way he can come away with the victory here in our opening contest.
Needs all that speed, all that agility. Was looking maybe DDT there, but again, the strength of Vaughn just up and over. Absolute calamity at the expense of Jewell. And Vaughn scores again. Clear the deck. Big Money Ish is cashing out in a big way right now at the expense of Jiah Jewell.
Took a second too long, and Jiah Jewell is paying for it once again, Kincaid.
Neck and back just being decimated by Ishmael Vaughn. And yeah, the 1 foot pin here. But again, like you said, maybe feeling it a little bit too much. You know, after a flurry like that, you hook the leg, you put all that body weight on him. I'm not sure that Jiah Jewell gets a shoulder up there.
Well, it's a very thin line, James. You need confidence to excel as a wrestler. It can't veer into cockiness. It can't veer into assuming you have your opponent beat, lest Jiah Jewell reverse the offense, as we see here.
Jewell trying to stick and move right out on the second rope, but that clothesline has knocked Ishmael Vaughn off his feet, and he is not getting back up. This could be the opening that the man from the Bayou needed, the Crazy Cajun. He needed to pull something crazy out of his hat here to get back in this matchup. Both competitors are down. Ref Gill employing the 10 count.
Jiah Jewell unable to capitalize. James Kincaid finally makes his way up to a vertical base. Typically after at a second rope clothesline, you would see a cover. Jiah Jewell just too tuckered out, too exhausted to even make the attempt.
But the breather might be just what he needed as he's able to find his balance on that second rope, score with the back elbow, and now it is Vaughn that looks dazed and dizzy. Jiah Jewell calling his shot, charging in both knees.
Locked and loaded.
Trying to do anything he can to put down the big man. Tornado DDT, spiking him. Can Jiah Jewell cover him? No, opting to not go for it. Oh yes, into the cover. No.
Barely a cover.
Able to get the shoulder up was Vaughn, and
maybe the gator roll.
You thinking gator roll here is absolutely right. Better late than never for the gator roll from Jiah Jewell.
Someone page Fred Durst, because we are rolling, rolling, rolling.
And Jiah Jewell in control now, maybe going to look for the gator flex here. What a bridge from Jiah Jewell. What a victory this will be. Not to be, not yet. Vaughn still too much power coursing through his body, able to get the shoulder up. But that was pretty and impressive from Jiah Jewell to get that big man over with that suplex and the bridge.
Gorgeous bridge there from Jiah Jewell, but style points do not win you matchups there. Big flying forearm takes Vaughn down.
Jiah just showing all sorts of moxie right now. Jiah looking to fly here. No, putting a stop to that in a big time way was Vaughn.
Apparently you can look, but you can't touch, and now Vaughn. Power bomb.
Big time power, and Jiah's got to be down and out. Here comes the three. No, it is not. Somehow, some way, Jiah Jewell gets the shoulder up, and look at his eyes. Got the look of a man trying to hold back an avalanche.
James Kincaid, where is Jiah Jewell getting this from? A lesser man would have been done 5 minutes ago. Jiah Jewell fights on. He looks like hell, but he fights on.
Well, but for how much longer? Because perched on the second rope is Ishmael Vaughn, and looking to do more big-time damage. But you're right. I mean, after that power bomb, Vaughn's got to be thinking, what do I have to do to keep this guy down? Getting him to stay down, that's the trick. And so far, Big Money Ish hasn't been able to find the secret sauce to get that 3 count. And
superplex.
This is how he beat Kevin Blackwood. Can he hit it on the big man, Ishmael Vaughn? Gator twist, plants Vaughn, cover him. And I think he's going to get the 3 count again. This is how he beat Kevin Blackwood. Deep cover and another 3. And the momentum continues to build.
Here is your winner, Jiah Jewell.
Impressive victory, hard-fought victory for Jiah Jewell. You know, James, we send our very best to fellow West Coast Academy graduate JT Thorne, recovering from that arm injury caused by one team stature. You gotta think Jiah Jewell, though, he sees the opportunities that JT Thorne as we see, he sees the opportunities against up to that. Traveling on excursion to Japan, he wants those opportunities, and while JT Thorne is out, while Thorne is healing, Jiah Jewell has his eyes dead set on those opportunities.
And looking to fill that void, and also well said is get well soon, JT Thorne. I know he's undergoing surgery here. And yeah, we just wish him a full and speedy recovery. But right now, that man, the crazy Cajun, Jiah Jewell, just continues to build that momentum. A rising star here, West Coast Pro Wrestling. Jiah Jewell, what is next for that young man?
I don't know what's next for that young man, but James Kincaid, I know what's next for us. Tag team action on tap here. Hashtag West Coast Fans.
The next contest is a tag team match scheduled for 1 fall. When the bell sounds, your official in charge, referee Chad Rico. Introducing first.
Switching gears to tag team action. You hear the music of the West Coast Wrecking Crew, Royce Isaacs and Jarrell Nelson. Making their return, the black and blue, the standard bearers in my estimation of the tag team division.
are the West Coast Wrecking Crew!
Picked up a big victory last night when you're here at the Don Quixote in Los Angeles from the West Coast with love. Perhaps the biggest loss of the West Coast Pro careers. Back at West Coast High against Tank.
Yeah, West Coast Wrecking Crew was saying they wanted more competition. They got more competition, and they got ran over with it. Yeah, surprised. They got blitzed by the drawing board. They came out of Whiplash essentially saying just that. And they want to once again assert themselves at the top of the ranks here. The tag team division West Coast Pro. They said that West Coast Pro and all of our deserves tag team titles. I of course agree with that assessment, but the mention of Cole set the entire tag team into an absolute maelstrom, and leading that was a sneak attack by Los Suavecitos, and that brings us to tonight here at Monster.
I've got the word.
Put in the tip jar.
And here are your favorite wrestlers on the West Coast Pro roster, right, James?
I believe the least favorite, the most hated in West Coast Pro Wrestling history.
Making their way to the ring, being accompanied by young Psycho Adrian Weiss. From Los Angeles, California. The precious little essays out of the trenches. The hardest essays ever. The team of Ricky G and Zay Rose. They are Los Suavecitos.
Los Suavecitos, no stranger to the West Coast Wrecking Crew, have faced and been defeated by them several times in West Coast Pro and beyond.
Yeah, can they get on the winning track here? I'm sure they'll be looking to steal yet another one. That seems to be their MO for picking up victories. And again, that ambush and whiplash. And look at Isaacs and Nelson. They're not going to fall victim to that twice. Daring daggers in Los Suavecitos. And I mean, they've been waging war on West Coast Pro since they showed up back in January. I can't believe it's almost a year of just them being a thorn in the sides of everyone here at West Coast Pro, and hopefully the Wrecking Crew can put an end to them here.
But interestingly enough, in their home territory, James, as you said, the story of Los Suavecitos in West Coast Pro has, oh my God, Jarrell Nelson here.
Taking the Dodger hat, a little bit of, I don't know if it's imitation and flattery going on there, a little bit of mockery.
Yeah, nothing sincere about that. But as I was saying, Los Suavecitos have waged war against West Coast Pro, against Northern California, the Bay specifically. A little bit of a different story, like we are in their home turf, we're in their home territory, we're in Los Angeles, so it'll be interesting to see how that home field advantage comes into play.
Yeah, does it fit? Because the West Coast Wrecking Crew are really, I mean, they're favorites wherever they go. So we'll see how partisan the crowd will be in favor of Suavecitos, or maybe they will still be behind the Wrecking Crew. I mean, that's where I would honestly put my money. Is Royce Isaacs looks unbothered by the proceedings here, and Rose and G sort of working themselves up into a verbal fervor there. And there's the bell. We are underway here. Tag team action. Isaacs starting things off with the Wrecking Crew. For the Suavecitos.
Clear size advantage.
Yeah, size and power.
No kidding.
And so Suavecitos use all that speed, and Ricky G, I mean, points for courage there, I guess, or I mean, bravado, I suppose it would be, and yeah, giving up height, giving up muscle, and getting in that standing side headlock is Ricky G.
This has been the story of psychological warfare here in the early going. The West Coast Wrecking Crew clearly in the head of Los Suavecitos, James.
Yeah, I'll give Suavecitos credit for this. Delusional or not, they never believe that they're not the biggest dogs in the fight. They just step to anybody like they're top tier. There's nobody bigger, nobody stronger, but their reality is crashing down upon them in the form of Royce Isaacs right now.
Mile High Samurai here off the rope. Ricky G quick to duck, and you gotta get it to Los Suavecitos.
Just turning Ricky G around. And look at the pain racked on G's face.
Yeah, Royce Isaacs just gave that to Ricky G, but you gotta give the devil their due. Those Suavecitos, despite the rule bending, despite the rule breaking, despite the nasty attitude, they are an impressive tag team when you look at where they're getting manhandled here.
Speaking of impressive and absolutely majestic drop kick from Jewell Nelson. All Wrecking Crew right now, deep cover. Kick out, still too early in this one. But right now it is all Wrecking Crew. Again, so they've gone back to the drawing board. It would go a long way for them to just get an emphatic victory over Los Suavecitos here tonight.
Well, the drawing board is one thing, James. I think the loss to Beef Tank, let me make it very clear, the definitive and dominant loss to Beef Tank at West Coast 5, I think a little fire under the ass of West Coast 3. They said it was one of the worst days of their lives. And right now, making sure history doesn't repeat itself against their rivals in Suavecitos.
Yeah, they certainly looked as motivated as they ever have when they came out at Whiplash, and we're seeing more of the same here tonight, and some fantastic tag team continuity on display from the West Coast Wrecking Crew. What a flurry from Nelson and Isaacs. And they're not done. Ricky G in the corner. Get your knees up. Oh, what a backbreaker from Isaacs.
The knee, one of the hardest parts of the human body. Fans, if you're at home, massage that knee. Really feel it. It is such an unmoving bone. Now imagine that bone getting dug into your skull or your back.
Just decimating Los Suavecitos with a double back body drop there. And now nothing low-key about their flex here. West Coast Wrecking Crew in full control.
One-way ticket to the gun show, courtesy of the West Coast Wrecking Crew.
West Coast Monster, as you enjoy the program, thank you so much for joining us live. And Suavecitos.
I think Danny Rose is going to have a tattoo in the shape of Jewell Nelson's handprint by the time this match is over.
Yes, we leave with a permanent souvenir. Danny Rose in a bad, bad way, just clawing, pawing, almost asking for mercy. And, well... Oh, it's good. Goose is good for the gander.
Never let me know your ex move.
Can't say he didn't deserve that. Maybe that woke up Danny Rose, though. But not for long. Pop up and down. No, Rose trying to put the stop to it, but too much power, perhaps, in the body of Jewell Nelson. But Rose fighting for dear life and able to fight his way out of it and score with the double team maneuver. And now Suavecitos, this could be the opening that they needed. Oh, my goodness.
Ricky G popping Jewell Nelson up into the kick from Danny Rose here. Covered.
Catapulting him into that kick and nearly into a 3 count. And just like that, reversal of fortunes now in the favor of Los Suavecitos and stomping away at Nelson in the corner.
Again, gotta give the devil their due. You don't have to like it, but you have to respect how impressive Los Suavecitos are, fighting up against a tag team so much bigger than them, James.
Yeah, I mean, it's just by hook or by crook with Los Suavecitos. They take any sort of opening, and they do capitalize on it. You got to give him credit there, but took his eye off the ball. That's how you get hurt in there.
Yeah, talking about capitalizing. Look at Jewell Nelson.
Yeah, trying to fight his way out of Suavecitos' corner. He needs to make a tag and just launching G to the outside, but landing on his feet. Not sure Nelson saw it. Don't think he did. And now lying prone. In on top of him comes G, but the blind tag, Rose the legal man, and looking to do more damage. The assist from Ricky G and the landing. Ghetto Bird right into the pin here. Can Nelson kick out? He can.
Yeah, that was a late kick out there from Jewell Nelson, though. Los Suavecitos have Nelson in the wrong part of town, and they are taking advantage, James.
And they're feeling themselves right now. Royce Isaacs fit to be tied, just trying anything he can to get back in the ring, but distracting the official, and this is where the Suavecitos will take every inch they can get. Kick into the midsection, the knee buster right there. Suavecitos doing work at the expense of Jewell Nelson.
Well, we talked about it, right, James? Los Suavecitos have a unique ability to get on people's nerves, to get under people's skin, whether it's their opponents, the West Coast Pro fans, or yourself, for that matter. And as irritating as it can be, it pays dividends. It distracts Royce Isaacs. It gives them the advantage to stay longer, to continue those longer double-team maneuvers for a longer period of time. There's a method to the madness.
I suppose you could say one doesn't have to approve of their methods, but it is hard to argue with their results at times in that ring.
Oh my.
I'm not sure that dog will hunt. That's going to wake up Nelson, and you're not going to want to be anywhere near him, if you ask me. Scoring with a big-time shot, and on Jewell Nelson refusing to back down here, eating those shots. Sustained the first one, second one knocked him down, but rallying again is Superman Zaddy. It's scored with a crossbody attack. Now, can he make the tag? The opening is there. The exit door is open for him to tag Royce Isaacs. Can he get there? He's still doubled over in pain, lying on the mat. Fulcrum moment here in the tag team matchup. Who can make the tag? It's Nelson first. Isaacs the legal man. In comes Rose.
Isaacs killing two birds with one stone, or perhaps two Suavecitos with one clothesline here. Look at this, just clubbing away at Ricky and Danny.
Piling them high in the corner and just smashing them down as the crowd counts along. Oh, but nobody home there after charging in, but the double clothesline. Royce Isaacs would not be denied.
Royce Isaacs watched his tag team partner, his friend, his brother in Jewell Nelson suffer that double team onslaught for minutes on end, and finally taking all the aggression he built up on both Suavecitos.
And everybody going for a ride. Both Suavecitos. What a bridge from Isaacs, but not the three. Beautiful suplex from Royce Isaacs. Yes, indeed, it was only two, but inching closer is Isaacs and the West Coast Wrecking Crew.
You talk about how the West Coast Wrecking Crew are the standard bearers of this promotion of the Coast, and I think a big part of that is that they've been here since the very beginning, with wins against the likes of the Rascals, PP Ray, the Conglomerate, Miracle Generation, the Velocities, Committee of Violence. I mean, the list goes on and on and on, but Suavecitos hoping that they're not another name on that list.
Suavecitos, yeah, looking to, oh my goodness, what a clothesline, upending. And Royce Isaacs just sent him into the upside down and looking to put the finishing touches on this.
I think Danny Rose is dead, and look at the face of Ricky G. He knows that Los Suavecitos are in dire straits.
Yeah, Danny Rose, like I said, sent into the upside down and could be getting sent even further. Mercy! Unbelievable! That's gotta be it right there. Are you kidding me?
What?
I'll give Rose full marks for kicking out of that. I thought that was absolutely a dead to rights 3 count.
Danny Rose's skull nearly touched the disco ball atop the Don Quixote and still kicked out.
What a power bomb from Nelson. Could be just a matter of time here before Danny Rose is lined in chalk and another West Coast Wrecking Crew victory. But no, at the last possible moment, the counter. Doing anything they can to hang in it with the West Coast Wrecking Crew. What a kick from Isaacs. Just throwing shots at any Suavecito that moves in there.
Royce is winding up here, Kincaid.
And he scores. But no, took his eye off the prize there for a moment, and now it's Isaacs that's getting double teamed by the Suavecitos here. Taking down Isaacs. Now, all of a sudden, the Suavecitos are in control.
Tope Suicida.
Flying into Nelson and trying to steal one in the ring. And this time it's Isaacs just able to get the shoulder up. Rose thought the 3 count was coming down. It is getting closer on both sides here.
You mentioned West Coast Wrecking Crew dropping the bombshell at Whiplash. They want it. The entire tag team division wants it. Those lauded tag team titles. This is no official tournament. This is no official contention. But you got to think a victory here would go a long way, and this might go a long way.
Big time splash. No, able to save the matchup at the last moment was Jewell Nelson. But for how long? Suavecitos, through everything that they've sustained, are in control of this matchup.
Again, they got Royce Isaacs exactly where he wants him.
Oh, but still too much power. Royce Isaacs able to turn that one around, and a little bit of a malfunction there. And here comes the Wrecking Crew. Nelson, like he was shot out of a cannon, taking down Jiah. And now look at the power of Royce Isaacs. Rose going for a ride.
That's a human man. I just want everyone to know that's a human man that Royce Isaacs threw around like a child or a doll.
And he's not done. Not content to just take it to Rose. They're going to take it to both G and Rose here. Tandem German suplexes, perhaps. Yes, in stereo. The Wrecking Crew demolishing the Suavecitos. And you see those longtime friends and tag team partners locking eyes, always on the same page, and they can sense it now, Jordan.
James, we've called a lot of West Coast Wrecking Crew matches. I don't think I've ever seen them more determined than here tonight.
Spiking and not done, getting him up, catapult, and down onto the knees of Jarrell Nelson. Rose has got to be down for the count here. Will it be 3? It will not.
Wow. Again, James, you don't have to like them. You really don't, and I understand why you don't. But you have to respect the grit of Los Suavecitos, especially with the performance they're showing tonight.
I mean, they have sustained a lot more than I think they could take. The near falls, there are multiple points in this matchup that I thought, yes, Los Suavecitos would have packed it in and stayed down for the 3 count, but they are hanging with the Wrecking Crew here. But I ask again, is it only a matter of time as Rose looks like he is out on his feet?
Yeah, lights are on, but nobody's home.
Yeah, nobody, engine running, nobody behind the wheel looking for West Coast down here, but what? From outside the ring, Nelson just got posted, and then there's that damn Adrian Quest marring the matchup. And going low, Ricky G just went low right through the uprights of Royce Isaacs. And this is, like I said, the MO of Los Suavecitos and the stomp, the assisted stomp.
This has been an incredible match, not like this.
Sealing it. More thievery from the Suavecitos.
Here are your winners,
James, I tried. I really tried to play devil's advocate. I tried to give Los Suavecitos the credit I thought they were owed. There's no excuse for this. Adrian Quest, not an official competitor. I'm not even sure if the guy has a manager's license, costing the West Coast Wrecking Crew this matchup.
Adrian Quest, I mean, they were just waiting, hoping they could hang with for their opportunity to cheat, to win. That is what Los Suavecitos do, and they did it again, but in the box score, they hold a huge, huge victory now over the West Coast Wrecking Crew as that tag team division continues to get more and more chaotic. And what is next for the Wrecking Crew? I said it was back to the drawing board coming into this matchup, and what do they do now?
I mean, moral victories for the Wrecking Crew. You know that they are devastated by this loss, James, but you can't take anything away from them. Adrian Quest, an illegal competitor, intervened at the last second. This was essentially a 3-on-2 handicap match in the ending moments.
Yeah, you know that. I know that. The fans know that. But again, when it's written down in the ledger, it's Los Suavecitos that are walking out with the victory, and Wrecking Crew, yeah, just have to be furious. I've had to regroup yet again after suffering defeat here at Monster.
All right, fans, how are we feeling after that last tag team match? All right. We are going to keep the action going, because this next contest is a singles match scheduled for 1 fall. When the bell sounds, you're official in charge, Mark Chadrico. Introducing first.
James Kincaid, you talk about hard hitting, you talk about back breaking. As a legendary wrestling announcer once put it, a slobber knocker. This is what we're about to witness in the truest sense of the word.
Yeah, some absolutely uncanny striking ability from both competitors in this next matchup. Getting set to make his West Coast Pro debut. So heavily decorated over in Japan. I think won about everything there is to win, especially in Dragon Gate. And yes,
he mentioned his time in Dragon Gate, a Dragon Gate original, a man who has been a fixture of that promotion since the day they opened doors, 2 decades ago.
yeah, you see on his trunks there since 1994. What a great way to make a debut here at West Coast Pro. Monster taking on the bounty hunter Bryan Keith. And Masaaki Mochizuki gets by Bryan Keith. I mean, he's just going to be vaulted right up the charts here at West Coast Pro.
Well, James, we talked about how the West Coast Wrecking Crew had something to prove after their loss to Beef Tank at West Coast 5. I think the Bounty Hunter, despite an amazing run here on the coast, absolutely has something to prove after falling to Alpha Zoe in a #1 contenders match at Whiplash and falling to Starboy Charlie in the West Coast Cup.
Well, you talked about Mochizuki being a fixture at Dragon Gate. Bryan Keith has become a fixture here at West Coast Pro, and Jordan, I do think you are right in a sense, is that Bryan Keith is in somewhat unfamiliar territory here now at West Coast Pro. He had an incredible run in the West Coast Cup, made it all the way to the finals, ultimately lost to Starboy Charlie, took on Alpha Zoe at Whiplash to determine a new #1 contender, came up just short against Alpha Zoe. He had been on this incredible run, but now, maybe for the first time in a while here at West Coast Pro, is he feeling the pressure for results? How will that play into this matchup against the debuting Masaaki Mochizuki? We will see, but that's a big-time bounty for Bryan Keith.
Yeah, I mean, James, we love great matchups, right? That's why you watch a professional wrestling show, but just having a quote-unquote great matchup, it doesn't get you any more at the pay window. It doesn't get you championship opportunities, and especially for the Bounty Hunter. That's what he needs.
Yeah, I think, again, maybe feeling a little bit of the pressure now for results, not just good efforts. Hear the crowd here at the Don Quixote showing their support for both competitors before the bell has even rung, and outstretching the hand at the center of the ring is Bryan Keith. And that's what you like to see. Oh. But Bryan Keith going to let him know that I will not back down from a fight. Never has. I've never seen it. And the Bounty Hunter looks locked in, looking to get back on track. But, I mean, equally sort of locked in is Mochizuki. And I'm just so excited to have him here at West Coast Pro. We talked about just incredible striking ability that he brings. Of course, Bryan Keith, no slouch in that department himself.
I mean, listen, we talk about how Bryan Keith needs those wins. He needs to not just put on incredible effort, he needs to actually come away with a victory. But he has done that numerous times here on the coast against the likes of Alan Angels, Kevin Blackwood, Black Taurus, Jordan Oliver, Mao, Vinny Massaro, Speedball Mike Bailey. I mean, the list goes on and on. A proverbial who's who of independent wrestling greats. And the Bounty Hunter has put all of them away.
Yeah, Bryan Keith, his resume is extensive, but it's hard to have a resume as extensive as Mochizuki. Like, again, since 1994, he has been doing it.
3-time Open the Dream Gate champion, 3-time Open the Twin Gate champion, 2-time Open the Awade Gate champion, 6-time Open the Triangle Gate champion, has held gold in Pro Wrestling Noah and FIP, anything and everywhere. Mochizuki has been successful.
Yeah. Heavily decorated, doesn't do it justice. As we are still in the early going of this one, neither man asserting themselves to take the advantage. Keith tried there, scored with the kick, but I don't think that had the effect that Bryan Keith is used to having. Mochizuki saying, well, why don't we go for it again? And it's a spinning kick to the midsection there. And Bryan Keith is down, and kick right between the shoulder blades into the spine, but now it is Keith who fires up. Both these men can take and dish it out as they start to trade blows in the black and blue, staring each other down.
Talking about the resume of Mochizuki. Bryan Keith, no slouch. A 13-year veteran, a product of Hall of Famer Booker T. Recently, the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, publicly singing his praises. And oh my goodness, the top's off.
And getting ready to trade more blows here. Keith layering in those chops, hesitate for a moment, and then one punch to the gut from Mochizuki floors the bounty hunter.
Yeah, Mochizuki absorbed every single one of these chops from Bryan Keith. One shot to the gut took the bounty hunter down to the canvas.
And now Keith deposited the outside, still feeling the effects. You see him cradling his stomach there, and another shot. And those body blows, you got to believe, already paying dividends here for Mochizuki. The longer this goes, the more in the favor it will be for him if he continues to target that area, and he does, just sending Keith midsection first into the apron.
It's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. The ring apron, the hardest part of the canvas, and Mochizuki just dug Bryan Keith's sternum into it. He has found a target, and he is exploiting it, Kincaid.
Yeah, he is locked in, and again, just one shot flooring Keith, and yeah, those punches absolutely devastating right now. As Bryan Keith going to take any moment he can there to collect himself on the outside. Slowly back into the ring he comes, and charging right back with a kick to the midsection is Mochizuki. Like you said, he's found his roadmap there. Now clawing at the gut of Bryan Keith. That claw applied. Is Keith going to submit here after sustaining those strikes? Beautiful strategy from Mochizuki.
I want to point out, Mochizuki is 53 years of age. 5'3", fans. This is a middle-aged man, and you wouldn't know it the way he's taken Bryan Keith to school. Talk about fine wine.
Giving Keith another opportunity to try and lay in those strikes. It's not even phasing him. And then that kick again to the midsection, doubling over Keith, just cradled in the corner.
I mean, this one has been all Mochizuki.
I've never really seen Bryan Keith go through something quite like this. I mean, something could be seriously hurt there. I don't know. I don't want to speculate about any sort of injury in there, but that shot really, really damaged Keith, and he has not been able to get back on a level playing field since.
Even if it's not something serious, something long-term, at the very least, the wind taken out of Bryan Keith here, and Mochizuki knows it.
Yeah, and the wind definitely out of his sails, and Keith trying to get back into this matchup, and now Keith starting to come back to life. Maybe that kick to the head woke him up, yes. And the steely gaze of the bounty hunter locked on Mochizuki, able to catch the strike that time. And now the exploder from Bryan Keith. Needed that one in a big way.
Perhaps finding a second wind is the bounty hunter.
Following it up with the knee drop into the cover, only two. And you see Bryan Keith still clutching at the stomach there.
Yeah, short flurries of offense from Bryan Keith, but he can't continue to capitalize. He can't continue to exploit the offensive advantage.
Yeah, can't fully get his wind back after taking that damage. Looking for the Emerald Tiger driver here perhaps, but not sure he's done enough to get it here. And of course, Mochizuki certainly knows that was coming. Back body drop.
Not only has he not done enough, but I mean, if Bryan Keith's abdomen is really as injured as it seems to be, how much harder is it going to be to muscle up a man like Mochizuki for that Emerald Tiger driver?
Wild swing with that roundhouse kick. Came up empty-handed, but not that time. The kick again, as you said, to the abdomen, and now Mochizuki looking to follow up here, putting the brakes on for the moment. Is Bryan Keith trying to hang on here? Oh, what a gut buster there.
Right to that injured sternum.
Just blood in the water for Mochizuki right now.
And perhaps blood in the abdomen, quite literally, for Bryan Keith.
Yeah, I didn't want to speculate about that earlier, but that was what was racing through my mind.
Maybe looking for that Ikakugari here.
He's got Bryan Keith hung out to dry, and yes, and he scores with it. And it was with devilishly pinpoint accuracy.
Ikakugari followed up with a twister.
Big time brain busters. You see the lights start to go out on the bounty hunter. Hooks both legs, but no. Still able to get the shoulder up was Bryan Keith.
It has been a night of tenacity, James Kincaid. We're only 3 matchups in, and we've seen for every competitor, Ishmael, Vaughn, Jiah, Jewell, Los Suavecitos, the West Coast Wrecking Crew, and now both of these men, how much a win on the coast means for them.
Keith eats that kick right to the jaw. Oh, but offers back with one of his own. That one staggered. And now he's down. Keith starting to fire up, looking for that knee, but the counter, what a counter. What a right hand. Both men are down.
What a matchup.
Both back to that level playing field now as you hear the West Coast Serenade. Letting both competitors know what they think of them. It has been one incredible battle thus far. As Mochizuki was looking maybe to cover it, Bryan Keith just sat up and says, no, not today. Now going nose to nose, forehead to forehead.
Perhaps reincarnated is the bounty hunter here.
And it is just trench warfare in there on their knees right now.
Look, the headbutt from Mochizuki only served to fire up Bryan Keith further.
Those kicks on the mark, but Bryan Keith able to weather the storm right now. Both men up and offering strikes. How much more can either one give in this? The strikes this time it was Mochizuki that caught Bryan Keith. Swinging wildly, ducked one, didn't duck the other to Bryan Keith. He is staggered, but no, maybe suckering Mochizuki in, caught him with that knee, and now setting him up. Emerald, Tiger, driver, empty the clip, and count the 3. Bryan Keith wins. Bryan Keith weathered that just onslaught of Mochizuki, able to take advantage with the knee right into that Emerald Tiger driver. As you see him just needing that ice pack to his abdomen. Definitely worse for wear after that, but ultimately Bryan Keith got back on the winning track here in a big-time way.
I mean, Gutsy doesn't even begin to cover it. Against a literal living legend, Bryan Keith eking out a win. At what cost, I'm not sure, but that speaks to not just the general tenacity of the bounty hunter, James, but how much he needed this victory, how much he needed to prove he still belonged at the top of the pecking order here in West Coast Pro.
Big-time victory for Bryan Keith. Heck of an effort in a West Coast Pro debut for the ages from Mochizuki. But yeah, Bryan Keith back on the trajectory that he has become accustomed to here at West Coast Pro. And just the intensity of the bounty hunter pouring out of him. Thank you all for joining us thus far here at West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster. We are live in Los Angeles at the Don Quixote. I am James Kincaid alongside Jordan Castle, calling all the action. # West Coast Monster as you continue to follow along.
All right, then. It is now time for your next card. Okay, really quickly, folks. There is a blue Toyota Camry that is blocking the entranceway. It will be towed.
Jordan, you drive a blue Toyota?
Oh, man. Not again.
Let him tow it.
With that being said, your next contest is a 6-man tag team match scheduled for 1 fall.
To quote Michael Keaton, you want to get nuts? Well, let's get nuts. Trios tag team action on tap. Los Vipers entering the Don Quixote.
Los Vipers getting set to tag with Black Taurus.
Of course, that is Toxin with the cape, the Maniac Latigo with the pink tinted mask. Two fixtures of AAA in Mexico.
And like you alluded to, I mean, this thing could get crazy in a hurry. Anytime you add luchadors of this caliber, 6-man tag team action, you have Black Taurus teaming with them, taking on Wickett, Iron Kid, and Aramis.
Well, I think the last time we were here at the Don Quixote in Los Angeles were From the West Coast with Love, Aramis and Iron Kid, and what we presumed was singles action halfway through the matchup. Moment of the night for my money. Black Taurus entering through the crowd, through the front entrance of the Don Quixote, shockingly reinserting himself, making that matchup a three-way dance. You gotta think that, Aramis is looking for revenge after Taurus, in his mind, cost him that matchup.
Yeah, certainly. He entered in the most dramatic of fashions.
It was awesome. There's no two ways about it.
Absolutely. And I always talk about it. What an imposing silhouette that stallion cuts. Black Taurus making his way back to a West Coast Pro ring. So impressive. The power, his ability to fly, and you hear the crowd just so firmly behind him. Listen to him.
Deceptively agile for a big man is Black Taurus, and incredibly beloved by Southern California here tonight. Taurus recently striking out on his own, recently leaving the decay in his native Impact Wrestling, but returning to Trios action, if only for this evening.
I just can't get over the crowd is rabid for Black Taurus right now.
Yeah, clearly some holdovers from our last foray in the Don Quixote. Again, the live stream may not do it justice, fans. An electric atmosphere.
Yeah, he may not have won the match, but he stole the show, and I guess the hearts of these fans here at the Don Quixote as well. But will that equate to victory?
Talk about
tonight at Monster.
Yeah, talk about stealing hearts. We talked about Ishmael Vaughn in our opening contest, really showing out in a big way in that 8-person tag team contest back From the West Coast with Love. The same can be said about Wickett.
Yeah, absolutely, and looking to convert that into a victory here. Well, it'll be interesting to see how both these teams, gel together. Wickett's tag team partners, Aramis and Iron Kid, have tagged before together. They are 2/3 of a trio called the Kamikaze, so continuity on their side there. But of course, Los Vipers have so much continuity on their end, so it's like, it would Wickett and Taurus, I guess, sort of be the X factors for both teams.
They're variables, absolutely. And I do want to point out, while Aramis and Iron Kid have teamed before, they've also faced off before, as I mentioned, in Trios action, three-way dance action against Black Taurus at From the West Coast with Love. So two sides of the same coin. Will be interesting to see which comes into the play, teaming with Wickett here tonight.
Well, we will see if everyone in this matchup makes their entrance the traditional way. I still can't get over the last time we were here and what Black Taurus did. But by the same token, as you see Aramis and Iron Kid, every time I see Aramis, I reflect back to the first match I ever called of his, which was West Coast Pro Wrestling. It was a triple threat match with Ray Oros and Speedball Mike Bailey. It is one of the greatest matches I've ever had the privilege to call, and Aramis made me a fan on that day. So incredibly talented, and so is Iron Kid, who, by the way, the victor of that triple threat match.
The story may have been Black Taurus, but Iron Kid picked up the victory, and you got to wonder, is that maybe wearing on? Like, I picked up the W, I gained forward momentum, but all everyone was talking about after From the West Coast with Love was the shocking insertion of Black Taurus.
Yeah, absolutely, but can go a long way here if he doubles up, picks up another victory here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is a 6-man Lucha Rules tag team match. Introducing the Black Corner. First, from County Hall, Mexico, is Black Taurus. And his tag team partner from Mexico City, Mexico, the team of Toxin and Latino. They are Los Vipers. And introducing the blue corner. First, from the Wicked side of Riverside, is
Some big-time crowd support for Aramis as well.
There's still some crowd support for Ref Gill.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I gotta say, I do not envy Ref Gill. He has his work cut out for him here tonight, keeping this one in control, James.
And some crowd support for Lucha Libre, which is the style that is about to be employed in spades here. This trios tag team matchup looks like Aramis will start things out for his team. Again, I echo your sentiment about Ref Gill as well. Looks like Latigo for his team will be starting things out. There is the bell. We are underway. Everybody has a sort of a faction of support here in the matchup.
Well, listen, I will say this about fans of Lucha Libre. They are as passionate as they come. And it'll be interesting to see who that favors tonight. As you said, pretty evenly split thus far.
Offer a handshake.
Whoa, that's not a handshake.
It was for a moment. Now a one-finger gesticulation. Aramis, no fan of that. We'll see who can take the advantage in the early going here. Aramis giving up a lot of size and strength, you would imagine, but God, his agility and just body control is so impressive.
Yeah, so impressive and so fluid, I think.
Yes.
Transitions from one move to the next absolutely effortlessly here. He's got to be careful. He's got his shoulders pinned down.
Yeah, waste no motion, but yeah, turn it into a pin of his own. And neither luchador wants to make a big early mistake, playing it a little cautious right now. Was looking to lock up there, not to be, and there you see the agility on display of Aramis, but rolling right with him is Latigo. And trapping Aramis, maybe a pin, no. Rolling.
Grabs a cradle.
Yes. Well, and there it is. Pinning predicament, Aramis able to get the shoulders up, roll out of it, and sort of playing a game of peekaboo with Latigo in the corner there.
Electric chair.
Able to get out of it is Aramis. And trying to create some distance, pick up some speed. Able to do so, gets him over into the pin. Gonna catch him right there. No, only two.
James, I'm not sure if our cameras caught it. Aramis nearly spiked himself with his neck, but still somehow managed to transition into that Hurricane Rana, or at the very least an attempt.
And nearly picked up the victory. Yeah, hopefully Aramis didn't catch himself there. Both competitors recalibrating a little bit. Aramis lying in wait. And again, that body control, the agility of Aramis is some special, special stuff.
Clear advantage on the side of Latigo and really the entire tag team, the entire trio of Los Vipers and Black Taurus. Speaking of size, in comes the big man.
Taurus launching Aramis from one side of the ring to the other. And like you said, the deceptive aerial ability of the bull. Oh my goodness, turning Aramis inside out, and he's not done.
Flies like a man half his size, but does so with all that momentum that comes with his weight. Black Taurus, simply unbelievable.
Seeing red and doing big damage right out of the gates is Black Taurus. Aramis needs to make a tag, catches Taurus with the enziguri, staggers him back. Can Aramis make the tag? No.
Perhaps turning the black and blue into a china shop here.
Oh, flying in comes Iron Kid. Iron Kid taking over Black Taurus as the momentum perhaps swinging in his team's favor now. Fresh man in the matchup. Oh, taking down Taurus right into the ropes there. Nasty landing for Taurus.
You gotta think that would be nasty for Black Taurus to lose. Oh my goodness!
That just standing on the shoulders of Taurus before he took him down.
How does gravity work that way? I thought I learned about gravity in school, James Kincaid. It's not supposed to work like that.
I mean, just you think about the incredible precision and balance they're required to pull that off. Absolutely impressive stuff.
In comes Toxin.
And Toxin now looking to stop the momentum of Iron Kid. And you talk about control. That was nice from Toxin. Now perched on the second rope. spinning through the air.
It was a corkscrew arm drag?
Corkscrew arm drag. It sends Iron Kid to the outside, and Wickett now enters the chat.
Yeah, the Lucha Killer looking to make good on his name here.
Excellent use of the ropes there from Wickett. And utilizing speed and agility and beckoning Toxin in, perhaps suckering him in, caught the hand. Hits the chest, not once but twice. I think protected by his ring gear a little bit was Toxin, but not enough.
We'll talk about ring gear. Wicked with the Chucky-inspired ring gear. And honestly, the way this matchup is going, I'd rather be in there with the doll than I would Wicked.
No child's play. Just great lucha action. Iron Kid and Aramis on the same page. And Wickett standing on the apron. I think all three of them are on the same page here. Unbelievable!
Hit me with it, James.
Elevation sensation from Aramis, Iron Kid, and Wickett, and that was absolutely sick.
Like something out of a video game or a superhero movie, we are giving it to you live and in living color.
Hashtag West Coast Monster as you follow along. Action coming quicker than, quite frankly, we're able to call it. Oftentimes in this matchup, it has been nuts, as we said it would be.
Aramis and Black Taurus again, shades are from the West Coast with love, that three-way dance.
Aramis starting to string it together. That kick found the mark, spun Taurus around, but Taurus able to reverse the Irish whip, building up head steam and just pouncing on Aramis, parrying him.
Period.
Sending Aramis to the outside, but Iron Kid perched on the top rope. Now Taurus sees him. Nobody home for Iron Kid, and now he is in a bad way.
Yeah, Latigo just launching his entire body like a catapult here, and now Toxin with Taurus and Iron Kid.
All alone in the night is Iron Kid, and he is taking a beating, and Wickett charging in, maybe not smart, but trying to take things into control for his team. He just got absolutely mollywopped and down to his knees, dazed, dizzied, and could be done.
It sounded like a gunshot, Kincaid. This is not where you want to be if you're Wicked. All three members of the opposing team just taking it to him here.
Yeah. What is in store for Wicked?
Hold on.
Nothing. Good! Unbelievable. Catapulted into that power bomb, and Wickett now rolls to the outside.
Again, I mentioned earlier the clear size advantage on behalf of Black Taurus and Los Vipers, taking full advantage of it right now, and now it is Iron Kid, much to the chagrin of his opponents, trying to make a difference here.
But again, it's now 3-on-1 at every turn. Down to his knees goes Iron Kid. And the crowd chants Othro. They want another one.
These people are sick.
Iron Kid pleading, please no. Gets one upside the face.
And is that better or worse? I'm honestly not sure.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, and I don't want to be able to find out, to be honest with you, as they launch Taurus in. Nobody home this time, but Taurus goes to the outside.
Look at Iron Kid here. Despite the shots, the face and the chest faring very well against the numbers game, and in comes Wickett.
With an assist, in came Wickett. Turning the tide here, if only for a moment.
And only for a moment indeed, as Los Vipers pull Iron Kid and Wickett outside the ring, but look at Aramis.
Aramis trying to come in now, and he gets sent to the outside on top of his tag team partners. And now it's Los Vipers and Taurus looking to fly, corkscrewing through the ropes and knocking everybody down.
It's a bird, it's a plane, no, it's a bull.
A flying bull indeed, and now Los Vipers looking to get in on the act, and you talk about an assist, what a corkscrew! Really, unbelievable, really, mobile, agile, and hostile.
He nearly clipped his feet on the balcony here, Kincaid. It's the kind of height we're talking about.
And they're not done.
The Maniac looking to prove his mantra.
From the top rope, yeah, cross yourself. Best wishes, thoughts, and prayers. And everybody goes down again.
The coast is on fire.
And the West Coast flock chanting for Lucha, and this one has delivered all the best of Lucha Libre, but who now is going to seize momentum? I mean, everybody's just been flying through the air, knocking everybody down. Black Taurus up to his feet.
I was going to say, you got to think whoever is able to make their way up to a vertical pace first.
Aramis regretting standing up perhaps now. Taurus all too willing to just dole out more traditional punishment.
Sent down to the canvas as quick as he got up. Black Taurus, of course, previously has challenged for the West Coast Pro Heavyweight Championship. You got to think he wants to get back to title contention once again, and a win alongside Los Vipers would go a very long way in getting him there.
No doubt about it. Always love seeing Black Taurus here at West Coast Pro, and yeah, he is teaming very well with Los Vipers. What
is this?
What do they have going on in here? Is some type of body pyramid torture that's going on, but Iron Kid,
whatever it is, Iron Kid there to stop it.
Flying in to put a stop to whatever they had planned. A double poison Rana from Wickett and Aramis. And now it's their turn. Wickett gonna fly. And Aramis, all for one for all, and he scores. Just head first like a missile.
Well, those people don't have chairs, and they're not done, Kincaid.
Still flying around in there. Iron Kid spikes him. Latigo is down. Is Latigo not out for 3? No. Iron Kid using Latigo's own body against him and back into the cover, and still only 2.
A moonsault onto the back of Latigo, James Kincaid. It's not something you see often, but the back is crucial for any wrestler, specifically a luchador. With all the high flying, if your back is neutered, how the hell are you supposed to fly over the ropes?
And still, I mean, just using Latigo's own body against him, almost insult to injury.
You know what they say, the bigger you are, the harder they fall.
And we've seen that a couple times from Iron Kid when he perched atop the shoulders of Black Taurus. And now from that second rope, it just ate a kick to the jaw. Flipping through the air, but ate a kick, and now Iron Kid could be out here. Mercy into the cover, but there's Aramis, not going to let this one end.
You say could be out, I think would have been out if not for the insertion of Aramis.
Aramis making sure that this matchup will continue. Aramis using the top rope, flying through the air, going to try maybe pinning predicament here, looking cradle. No. Powerbomb from Aramis, all that momentum, and he's not done.
We talked about the deceptive agility of Black Taurus. How about the deceptive power of Aramis? And now could have Latigo in a submission predicament here, but Black Taurus breaking it up before the tap.
I was going to try and force a submission. I think, honestly, a smart strategy with this many bodies flying around. You try and catch a submission hold, force a quick tap out.
Talking about catching, Aramis just catching the hands of Black Taurus.
Aramis going for a ride, and not one of his own volition here. What a backbreaker from Taurus.
Spine got to be powdered down to dust here.
Pop up, Samoan drop from Taurus, and right into the cover. Hooks the leg, 3 count coming, no.
Wicked breaking it up at the last second. We're getting into those deep waters, James. We're not seeing kickouts. We're not seeing near falls. We're seeing the partners need to break up the covers.
Snot rocket from the bull to Wickett, and another one. Wickett, I wouldn't be trading shots with Taurus if I was Wickett. He might regret that. Just took that one flush, but not backing down, and
that's the purple nurple, Kincaid.
He does. He's got 12, but that Taurus just floored him.
Taurus is he's flabbergasted. He's flummoxed. He doesn't know what to make of this.
I think that one. I don't think he enjoyed that one bit, and I think it just served to make him even angrier, if that's possible.
But look at Wickett!
Cutter scores, but I think Taurus. No, Taurus staggered. I thought maybe Taurus was somehow with the adrenaline able to shrug it off, but able to put the brakes on Wickett here. No, Wickett showing every bit of power he's got. Taking down Taurus, scoring with the strike into the cover, but no.
James Kincaid
able to break it up.
Wickett just deadlifted a man into a Death Valley driver that is twice his size. That cannot be undersold here.
And after everything that they've already been through, and Toxin just German Wickett into the corner turnbuckle there, crumpled in a heap. Here comes Iron Kid. Here comes Iron Kid with the backbreaker. And into the cover. Double underhook backbreaker won't be enough to deliver 3, but there again, with so many bodies flying all around, it's hard to get 3 seconds to yourself to get a pinfall.
It's difficult enough in a traditional tag team match, let alone a trios tag team match like we're seeing here. But as I said, James, we're not seeing kickouts. We're seeing pins being broken up by the partners. It's only a matter of time here. All we need is one more big move, and this might be it.
You need a big move, and you've got to scatter all the bodies, divide and conquer. Oh boy, this is a precipice of destruction here. Black Taurus! Mercy! What an incredible display of destructive force from Black Taurus. And oh, but there's Aramis flooring Taurus. In comes Latigo once again. You want to get nuts? Come on. This thing is nuts.
Keaton's prophecy fulfilled.
Oh my God. Wickett's neck just destroyed. In comes Iron Kid. How he's standing, I don't know. How he's standing atop Toxin, I don't know even more.
For the second time in this matchup, Iron Kid defying gravity, but look at the spear.
A calamity of humanity. And applause from the West Coast flock in appreciation for what they are seeing.
Lucha Libre at its finest. A melee, James Kincaid. My goodness, I'm out of breath. How do you think these competitors feel?
They are bloodied, bashed. It's that devastating headbutt from Taurus, sending Aramis into the ropes, but oh my goodness, Aramis just flipped Taurus outside the ring. Somehow Taurus able to land on his feet, but in comes Wickett.
I can't get over that. I feel like a glitch in a video game, but Taurus, don't look behind you. You might not like the view.
Aramis able to evade, and now looking to capitalize. Aramis on top. Yet again, flying through the air. Absolutely majestic from Aramis.
Unbelievable.
Aramis taking flight.
I mean, James Kincaid, we've broken up pretty much every adjective in the book, and this match deserves even more. This is incredible.
Somehow Toxin still standing, now perched on that second rope. Iron Kid, unbelievable! He just Spanish fly him to the outside and knocked them all down!
How? I asked you how. H-O-W, how?
I don't believe what I just saw. And Iron Kid pulling one out of the hat deep in his bag. And Iron Kid got him. Iron Kid hits him. This is how Iron Kid won the last time he was in the Don Quixote, and it delivers the victory again.
Here are your winners, the team
Just absolutely sick. A Lucha Libre demolition derby. Ultimately, Wickett, Aramis, and Iron Kid prevail here.
You know,
what a wild, wild match.
James Kincaid, you mentioned Iron Kid winning this matchup the same way he won the three-way dance at From the West Coast with Love. They say the sequel is never better than the original. I think this is the exception to the rule. Money being thrown into the ring, as is Lucha tradition, and never has it been more deserved. A barn burner here.
I still can't get over that Spanish fly inside, outside, atop the bodies, flooring everybody.
I can't get over Taurus standing on his feet. I can't get over Iron Kid defying gravity and standing on a human being like it's nothing. I can't get over this entire matchup.
Money raining down. Hubba, 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 who do you trust? What a display of adulation from the fans here. Incredible stuff. Love to rewind that one back and see it all over again.
An instant classic in the pantheon of West Coast Pro Wrestling. We've had a lot of Lucha Libre. We've had a lot of trios tag team matchups. James Cade, you can attest better than I don't think we've ever seen anything quite like that.
There are a lot of things in that matchup I'm not certain I have seen before, and I'm not certain I will ever see again.
And again, it's a cliche to say that as commentators. The most incredible thing I've ever seen, something I've never seen before, never truer than here tonight.
Yeah, hashtag never seen it. And
hashtag West Coast Monsters,
yeah,
for me to say.
Thank you very much. What a night it has been so far here at West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster. Love being back here in Los Angeles. Love being back at the Don Quixote. Great venue, great crowd.
And still so much to come, James. Rachel Ellering taking on Mio Momono. The matchup made official tonight.
Yes, and that could have implications. Whoever is West Coast Pro Women's Champion at the end of the night, Sandra Moone will be challenging Takumi Iroha. And then, of course, that double main event, Starboy Charlie defending the West Coast Pro Championship against Jack Cartwheel, and then that tag team match. Kevin Blackwood and Titus Alexander have to do battle with Chris Hero and Kenta.
The franchise and the aesthetic crippler head-to-head with the knockout artist and his hand-picked partner, Kenta.
We are going to take a quick break. We will be back in just about 15 minutes, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. Taking a quick break, we will be back with more West Coast Pro Monster after this.
Straight up. Because now, we run the coast.
Man, straight up. Like we were Freeway Rick Ross, and this was the 1980s. What's good?
Straight up, what's good? It all started 1 year ago, here at West Coast Pro against y'all, the West Coast Wrecking Crew. That night, we found out that we can't get in y'all's heads, because you fools ain't like the other fools that we punked out.
That night we knew that we had to take the long way. That night the chess game begun. And no matter us taking off and becoming one of the hottest tag teams out, we still haven't been able to beat y'all. But it's funny how things always circle back around. Because here we are, December 3rd, in our city.
Straight up, from the gutters, but not where the rats be at.
Straight up, we've been plotting. We've been hitting licks here at the coast. Put everything in the bag. December 3rd, West Coast Wrecking Crew. Checkmate! Down to the Kings!
First line of order, take West Coast off your name, cause we run it.
Straight up. And after that, we're going back to the Bay. And so you NorCal fools can understand, we shooting for the top. Like we're number 30 Steph Curry, shooting from any range.
Straight up. The heist continues. All hail, the Citos!
And by that comes the West Coast Pro Tag Team Championships. Crown the Kings! Crown the Kings now, huh? Y'all think we playing Crown the Kings now, huh? LA runs NorCal, what's good?
Straight up.
Aquí en West Coast Pro.
Suavecitos, tornamos todo.
Y'all punk ass fools got
Monster. The West Coast Pro Women's title is on the line as Takumi Iroha defends against lightning in a bottle Sandra Moone. Iroha had instant success since coming to the coast from Marvelous and made history by dethroning Masha Slamovich to become women's champion. Who can possibly now knock Iroha off her perch atop the mountain? Could it be Sandra Moone, as she returned to West Coast Pro and became #1 contender at Whiplash? She's been so close to the gold before, but this time, can she catch lightning in a bottle and finally capture the title? Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster, and we bring you a first-time ever clash as the bounty hunter Bryan Keith will tangle with Masaaki Mochizuki. Keith, of course, is no stranger to the coast, but now he finds himself in somewhat unfamiliar territory. He's looking to get back on track and reach the next level after coming up just short of being #1 contender. Will he bounce back or find himself outdueled by the heavily decorated Dragon Gate veteran? Bryan Keith and Masaaki Mochizuki stand toe-to-toe for the first time ever. Who will come out on top? Sunday, December 3rd at West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster, a tag team match for the ages. Kevin Blackwood and Titus Alexander versus Chris Hero and Kenta. The aesthetic crippler will be bringing all of his vicious and malicious combat prowess with him to achieve victory. Teaming with Blackwood, the now former champion Titus Alexander. The franchise will be fresh off his tour of Japan and looking to restake his claim in West Coast Pro. After a 3.5-year hiatus, Chris Hero is back and putting everyone on notice. The Knockout Artist threw down the gauntlet. A monster tag team match in the City of Angels. Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster. Two young guns looking to climb the ladder of West Coast Pro and over one another. Jiah Jewell versus Ishmael Vaughn. The last time West Coast Pro came to LA, Big Ish made an even bigger first impression. He turned a lot of heads and left even more destruction in his wake. But standing opposite him is the crazy Cajun Jiah Jewell. The unorthodox kid from the Bayou isn't just happy to be here, and he has been feasting on his opportunities. He's coming off the biggest win of his career over the aesthetic crippler, Kevin Blackwood. Big Ish versus the Crazy Cajun. Whose hunger will make them a monster? Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling, Monster.
Y'all thought it was all talk.
Here are your winners, Los Suavecitos!
And they are victorious tonight.
Yeah, clearly.
All hail the kings of the West Coast.
After the killing move from Jacob Fatu,
The freshest little essays out the trenches. The hardest essays ever. Your Highness wet dream.
Straight up, cause now we run the coast.
Man, straight up. Like we were Freeway Rick Ross and this were the 1980s. What's good?
Straight up, what's good? It all started 1 year ago here at West Coast Pro against y'all, the West Coast Wrecking Crew. That night, we found out that we can't get in y'all's heads, cause you fools ain't like the other fools that we punked out.
That night we knew that we had to take the long way. That night the chess game begun. And no matter us taking off and becoming one of the hottest tag teams out, we still haven't been able to beat y'all. But it's funny how things always circle back around. Because here we are, December 3rd, in our city.
Straight up, from the gutters, but not where the rats be at.
Straight up, we've been plotting. We've been hitting licks here at the coast. Put everything in the bag. December 3rd, West Coast Wrecking Crew. Checkmate! Bow to the kings!
First line of order, take West Coast off your name, cause we run it.
Straight up. And after that, we're going back to the Bay. And so you NorCal fools can understand, we shooting for the top. Like we're number 30 Steph Curry, shooting from any range.
Straight up, the heist continues. All hail the Citos!
And by that comes the West Coast Pro Tag Team Championships. Crown the Kings! Crown the Kings now, huh? Y'all think we playing Crown the Kings now, huh? LA runs NorCal, what's good?
Straight up.
Aquí en West Coast Pro.
Suavecitos, controlamos todo.
Y'all punk ass got.
Monster. The West Coast Pro Women's title is on the line as Takumi Iroha defends against Lightning in a Bottle Sandra Moone. Iroha had instant success since coming to the coast from Marvelous and made history by dethroning Masha Slamovich to become women's champion. Who can possibly now knock Iroha off her perch atop the mountain? Could it be Sandra Moone, as she returned to West Coast Pro and became #1 contender at Whiplash? She's been so close to the gold before, but this time, can she catch lightning in a bottle and finally capture the title? Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster, and we bring you a first-time ever clash as the bounty hunter Bryan Keith will tangle with Masaaki Mochizuki. Keith, of course, is no stranger to the coast, but now he finds himself in somewhat unfamiliar territory. He's looking to get back on track and reach the next level after coming up just short of being #1 contender. Will he bounce back or find himself outdueled by the heavily decorated Dragon Gate veteran? Bryan Keith and Masaaki Mochizuki stand toe-to-toe for the first time ever. Who will come out on top? Sunday, December 3rd at West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster, a tag team match for the ages. Kevin Blackwood and Titus Alexander versus Chris Hero and Kenta. The aesthetic crippler will be bringing all of his vicious and malicious combat prowess with him to achieve victory. Teaming with Blackwood, the now former champion Titus Alexander. The franchise will be fresh off his tour of Japan and looking to restake his claim in West Coast Pro. After a 3.5-year hiatus, Chris Hero is back and putting everyone on notice. The Knockout Artist threw down the gauntlet. A monster tag team match in the City of Angels. Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster. Two young guns looking to climb the ladder of West Coast Pro and over one another. Jiah Jewell versus Ishmael Vaughn. The last time West Coast Pro came to LA, Big Ish made an even bigger first impression. He turned a lot of heads and left even more destruction in his wake. But standing opposite him is the crazy Cajun Jiah Jewell. The unorthodox kid from the Bayou isn't just happy to be here, and he has been feasting on his opportunities. He's coming off the biggest win of his career over the aesthetic crippler, Kevin Blackwood. Big Ish versus the crazy Cajun. Whose hunger will make them a monster? Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling, Monster.
Y'all thought it was all talk.
Here are your winners, Los Suavecitos!
And they are victorious tonight.
Yeah, clearly.
All hail the kings of the West Coast.
After the killing move from Jacob Fatu,
The freshest little essays out the trenches. The hardest essays ever. Your Highness wet dream.
Straight up. Because now, we run the coast.
Man, straight up. Like we were Freeway Rick Ross, and this was the 1980s. What's good?
Straight up, what's good? It all started 1 year ago, here at West Coast Pro against y'all, the West Coast Wrecking Crew. That night, we found out that we can't get in y'all's heads. Because you fools ain't like the other fools that we punked out.
That night we knew that we had to take the long way. That night the chess game begun. And no matter us taking off and becoming one of the hottest tag teams out, we still haven't been able to beat y'all. But it's funny how things always circle back around. Because here we are, December 3rd, in our city.
Straight up, from the gutters, but not where the rats be at.
Straight up, we've been plotting. We've been hitting licks here at the coast. Put everything in the bag. December 3rd, West Coast Wrecking Crew. Checkmate! Bow to the kings!
First line of order, take West Coast off your name, cause we run it.
Straight up. And after that, we're going back to the Bay. And so you NorCal fools can understand, we shooting for the top. Like we're number 30 Steph Curry, shooting from any range.
Straight up. The heist continues. All hail the Citos!
And by that comes the West Coast Pro Tag Team Championships. Crown the Kings! Crown the Kings now, huh? Y'all think we playing Crown the Kings now, huh? LA runs NorCal, what's good?
Straight up.
Aquí en West Coast Pro.
Los Suavecitos, controlamos todo.
Brah, y'all punk ass fools got
Monster. The West Coast Pro Women's title is on the line as Takumi Iroha defends against Lightning in a Bottle Sandra Moone. Iroha had instant success since coming to the coast from Marvelous and made history by dethroning Masha Slamovich to become women's champion. Who can possibly now knock Iroha off her perch atop the mountain? Could it be Sandra Moone, as she returned to West Coast Pro and became #1 contender at Whiplash? She's been so close to the gold before, but this time, can she catch lightning in a bottle and finally capture the title? Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster, and we bring you a first-time ever clash as the bounty hunter Bryan Keith will tangle with Masaaki Mochizuki. Keith, of course, is no stranger to the coast, but now he finds himself in somewhat unfamiliar territory. He's looking to get back on track and reach the next level after coming up just short of being #1 contender. Will he bounce back or find himself outdueled by the heavily decorated Dragon Gate veteran? Bryan Keith and Masaaki Mochizuki stand toe-to-toe for the first time ever. Who will come out on top? Sunday, December 3rd at West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster. A tag team match for the ages. Kevin Blackwood and Titus Alexander versus Chris Hero and Kenta. The aesthetic crippler will be bringing all of his vicious and malicious combat prowess with him to achieve victory. Teaming with Blackwood, the now former champion Titus Alexander. The franchise will be fresh off his tour of Japan and looking to restake his claim in West Coast Pro. After a 3.5-year hiatus, Chris Hero is back and putting everyone on notice. The Knockout Artist threw down the gauntlet. A monster tag team match in the City of Angels. Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling, Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster. Two young guns looking to climb the ladder of West Coast Pro and over one another. Jiah Jewell versus Ishmael Vaughn. The last time West Coast Pro came to LA, Big Ish made an even bigger first impression. He turned a lot of heads and left even more destruction in his wake. But standing opposite him is the crazy Cajun Jiah Jewell. The unorthodox kid from the Bayou isn't just happy to be here, and he has been feasting on his opportunities. He's coming off the biggest win of his career over the aesthetic crippler, Kevin Blackwood. Big Ish versus the crazy Cajun. Whose hunger will make them a monster? Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling, Monster.
Y'all thought it was all talk.
Here are your winners, your Suavecitos!
And they are victorious tonight.
Yeah, clearly.
All hail the kings of the West Coast.
After the killing Moone from Jacob Fatu,
The freshest little essays out the trenches. The hardest essays ever. Your Highness wet dream.
Straight up, because now we run the coast.
Man, straight up. Like we were Freeway Rick Ross and this was the 1980s. What's good?
Straight up, was good. It all started 1 year ago here at West Coast Pro against y'all, the West Coast Wrecking Crew. That night, we found out that we can't get in y'all's heads. Because you fools ain't like the other fools that we punked out.
That night we knew that we had to take the long way. That night the chess game begun. And no matter us taking off and becoming one of the hottest tag teams out, we still haven't been able to beat y'all. But it's funny how things always circle back around. Because here we are, December 3rd, in our city.
Straight up, from the gutters, but not where the rats be at.
Straight up, we've been plotting. We've been hitting licks here at the coast. Put everything in the bag. December 3rd, West Coast Wrecking Crew. Checkmate! Bow to the kings!
First line of order, take West Coast off your name, cause we run it.
Straight up. And after that, we're going back to the Bay. And so you NorCal fools can understand, we shooting for the top. Like we're number 30 Steph Curry, shooting from any range.
Straight up, the heist continues. All hail the Citos!
And by that comes the West Coast Pro Tag Team Championships. Crown the Kings! Crown the Kings now, huh? Y'all think we playing Crown the Kings now, huh? LA runs NorCal, what's good?
Straight up,
Aquí en West Coast Pro.
los Suavecitos, tornamos todo.
Brah, y'all punk ass fools got
Monster. The West Coast Pro Women's title is on the line as Takumi Iroha defends against lightning in a bottle Sandra Moone. Iroha had instant success since coming to the coast from Marvelous and made history by dethroning Masha Slamovich to become women's champion. Who can possibly now knock Iroha off her perch atop the mountain? Could it be Sandra Moone, as she returned to West Coast Pro and became #1 contender at Whiplash? She's been so close to the gold before, but this time, can she catch lightning in a bottle and finally capture the title? Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster, and we bring you a first-time ever clash as the bounty hunter Bryan Keith will tangle with Masaaki Mochizuki. Keith, of course, is no stranger to the coast, but now he finds himself in somewhat unfamiliar territory. He's looking to get back on track and reach the next level after coming up just short of being #1 contender. Will he bounce back or find himself outdueled by the heavily decorated Dragon Gate veteran? Bryan Keith and Masaaki Mochizuki stand toe-to-toe for the first time ever. Who will come out on top Sunday, December 3rd at West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster?
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster, a tag team match for the ages. Kevin Blackwood and Titus Alexander versus Chris Hero and Kenta. The aesthetic crippler will be bringing all of his vicious and malicious combat prowess with him to achieve victory. Teaming with Blackwood, the now former champion Titus Alexander. The franchise will be fresh off his tour of Japan and looking to restake his claim in West Coast Pro. After a 3.5-year hiatus, Chris Hero is back and putting everyone on notice. The Knockout Artist threw down the gauntlet. A monster tag team match in the City of Angels. Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster. Two young guns looking to climb the ladder of West Coast Pro and over one another. Jiah Jewell versus Ishmael Vaughn. The last time West Coast Pro came to LA, Big Ish made an even bigger first impression. He turned a lot of heads and left even more destruction in his wake. But standing opposite him is the crazy Cajun Jiah Jewell. The unorthodox kid from the Bayou isn't just happy to be here, and he has been feasting on his opportunities. He's coming off the biggest win of his career over the aesthetic crippler, Kevin Blackwood. Big Ish versus the crazy Cajun, whose hunger will make them a monster. Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
Y'all thought it was all talk.
Here are your winners, your Suavecitos!
And they are victorious tonight.
Yeah, clearly.
All hail the kings of the West Coast.
After the killing move from Jacob Fatu,
The freshest little essays out the trenches. The hardest essays ever. Your Highness wet dream.
Straight up. Because now, we run the coast.
Man, straight up. Like we were Freeway Rick Ross, and this was the 1980s. What's good?
Straight up, what's good? It all started 1 year ago, here at West Coast Pro against y'all, the West Coast Wrecking Crew. That night, we found out that we can't get in y'all's heads. Because you fools ain't like the other fools that we punked out.
That night we knew that we had to take the long way. That night the chess game begun. And no matter us taking off and becoming one of the hottest tag teams out, we still haven't been able to beat y'all. But it's funny that things always circle back around. Because here we are, December 3rd, in our city.
Straight up, from the gutters, but not where the rats be at.
Straight up, we've been plotting. We've been hitting licks here at the coast. Put everything in the bag. December 3rd, West Coast Wrecking Crew. Checkmate! Bow to the kings!
First line of order, take West Coast off your name, cause we run it.
Straight up. And after that, we're going back to the Bay. And so you NorCal fools can understand, we shooting for the top. Like we're number 30 Steph Curry, shooting from any range.
Straight up. The heist continues. All hail the Citos!
And by that comes the West Coast Pro Tag Team Championships. Crown the Kings! Crown the Kings now, huh? Y'all think we playing Crown the Kings now, huh? LA runs NorCal, what's good?
Straight up.
Aquí en West Coast Pro.
Los Suavecitos, te hablamos todo.
Blah, y'all punk ass forgot.
Monster. The West Coast Pro Women's title is on the line as Takumi Iroha defends against Lightning in a Bottle Sandra Moone. Iroha had instant success since coming to the coast from Marvelous and made history by dethroning Masha Slamovich to become women's champion. Who can possibly now knock Iroha off her perch atop the mountain? Could it be Sandra Moone, as she returned to West Coast Pro and became #1 contender at Whiplash? She's been so close to the gold before, but this time, can she catch lightning in a bottle and finally capture the title? Sunday, December 3rd, West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster.
We all killers.
West Coast Pro Wrestling returns to Los Angeles for Monster, and we bring you a first-time ever clash as the bounty hunter Bryan Keith will tangle with Masaaki Mochizuki. Keith, of course, is no stranger to the coast, but now he finds himself in somewhat unfamiliar territory. He's looking to get back on track and reach the next level after coming up just short of being #1 contender. Will he bounce back or find himself out-dueled by the heavily decorated Dragon Gate veteran? Hello and welcome back, everyone. We are live in Los Angeles for West Coast Pro Wrestling Monster. I am James Kincaid once again alongside Jordan Castle, and we still have 2 title matches yet to come. West Coast Pro Women's Champion Takumi Iroha defends against Sandra Moone, and then West Coast Pro Champion Starboy Charlie will defend against Jack Cartwheel. But Jordan, we also have that incredible tag team match.
James Kincaid, Titus Alexander, the former West Coast Pro Heavyweight Champion, and Kevin Blackwood, the aesthetic crippler, chose the wrong legend to mess with. Fresh off his return to professional wrestling, the matchmaker himself, the knockout artist, Chris Hero, handpicking one of his greatest rivals in Kenta, tag team dream match.
Dream tag team matchup, that and so much more. Let's get it back going. Let's once again light it up. Take it away, Elijah Rutsky.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is a singles match scheduled for 1 fall. When the bell sounds, your referee in charge, Chad Rico. Introducing first.
Of course, James, this matchup not originally scheduled here on our format. Momono originally scheduled to take on Johnnie Robbie, of course, the troublemaker, sustaining a neck injury. And well, Queen of Smiles style, stepping up to the plate.
Yeah, Johnnie Robbie unfortunately suffered an injury and then tried to add insult and injury to her opponent, Mio. So enter Rachel Ellering making the save and stepping in for Johnnie Robbie in this matchup. So casting herself for leads in other people's dreams is Rachel Ellering, and looking for her first ever West Coast Pro singles victory is Ellering.
For my money, the best entrance music in West Coast Pro, and also one of the very best we got. She might be searching for that lauded singles win, but Rachel Ellering has more than proved her pudding thus far.
Ellering will absolutely need her best shot to pick up victory here, but what a super sub to get Ellering.
Yeah, Ellering here at the merch table supporting West Coast Pro alongside partner Chris Hero. Was not in any way scheduled for competition tonight, but as Mio said, she brought her costume, and her costume she will be wearing into battle. Mio making her return to West Coast Pro Wrestling. She
went all the way to the finals of the first ever Queen of Indies tournament. Ultimately fell to the victor, Masha Slamovich. But what a run she had. Of course, a fixture out of Marvelous.
Yeah, a fixture of our working relationship with Marvelous, bringing some of Marvelous's very finest over to North America, over to the coast, and sending some of our very finest over to Japan, over to the land of the rising sun. Currently, Alpha Zoe and Vinny Massaro are part of that exchange, and one quarter of our main event, the franchise, Titus Alexander, recently returning.
Yeah, just got back, did the franchise. That's still to come in one of our double main events. There's the bell, we're underway. Mio and Rachel set to do battle, and I gotta say, just great sportsmanship by Mio to even, call the question, Rachel, I don't have an opponent tonight, would you face me? Rachel, of course, had her gear with her and eager to step in for Johnnie Robbie. And a big-time opportunity for Ellering here.
Listen, Ellering is a student of the game, obviously has professional wrestling in her blood, someone who was quite literally born to do this. So, of course she's going to jump at the challenge. Of course she's going to jump at competition like Mio Momono, back at a stage like West Coast Pro.
Again, big opportunity, had her gear with her as is the cardinal rule, but was she really in the right sort of mind frame to take on an opponent like Mio? We will see.
It remains to be seen, James. What I find so interesting about this matchup specifically, impromptu though it may be, is the last time we saw Mio Momono was back at West Coast 5 in 8-person tag team action against a team spearheaded by Rachel Ellering. Though Ellering is still looking for that lauded singles win here in West Coast Pro, her team victorious against Mio on that night.
Yeah, and perhaps a little bit of a mental edge then there for Ellering. Nearly caught Mio with the pin, but the head scissors trapping Ellering now. And I mean, just Ellering with that powerlifting background, so much strength, but
interesting.
Mio trying to choke the life out of her right now with her legs.
Well, you would think the strength would be in the corner of Ellering, as you alluded to, but Mio Momono, less than 5 feet tall, with the strength advantage, at least thus far.
Ellering changing things around, and now trapping Mio, and sort of trying to the Mio with the handful of hair. I don't think Rachel expected that.
Rachel Ellering, a very good-natured competitor. We saw the handshake after the bell. We saw her jamming out to Mio's entrance music before the bell. But you got to cover here. You got to think the longer and longer this matchup goes, the more and more that respect is going to fade, Kincaid.
Yeah, it's all about results in the ring, and Ellering, as we've stated a couple times now, looking for that first singles win, and kind of wonder if that's starting to eat her up a little bit.
Well, we've seen what a proverbial chip on your shoulder can do for a competitor. Earlier on tonight, Bryan Keith picking up. Come on.
Stomping on the hand there.
Bryan Keith earlier on tonight with the victory over Masaaki Mochizuki. And we talked about how he had a bit of a chip on his shoulder after losing the West Coast Cup, after losing that #1 contendership match. Perhaps Ellering's fortunes could manifest in the same way.
Ellering creating some distance, taking her time, trying to get the feeling back in that hand. And now Momono trying to maybe ask for the test of strength here, and I don't think that's one that Mio is going to win again.
I mean,
Rachel Ellering, literally a powerlifting medalist.
This is a David versus Goliath situation if there ever was one, Kincaid.
I mean, so much strength in the favor of Rachel Ellering, you got to believe. But leverage can be a tricky thing in that wrestling ring. Standing side headlock from Ellering, but just a punch to the midsection. Doubling up is Mio, and sending Ellering up and charging right in and running her over. But right back up to her feet goes Mio.
Of course, the last time we saw Rachel Ellering in a West Coast Pro ring was back at Whiplash. You talk about losing at #1 contenders matchups. That's exactly what happened to Ellering, falling to Sandra Moone, who will be challenging Takumi Iroha for the West Coast Pro Women's Championship next.
Yeah, I gotta believe champion and challenger watching this one intently. Could be setting up a future title challenge, perhaps. And a little bit of the fake out from Mio. And yeah, you talk about Ellering. Thought she had Sandra Moone beat, hit the boss woman slam, but left herself open, got caught with the crucifix, and that was a bitter pill, I'm sure, for Ellering to swallow. But a chance at redemption here.
Right now, has had a bit of a tough time getting out of the starting gate against Mio Momono. Despite the size disparity, Momono in firm control, but perhaps commentator's curse in full effect. Ellering firing back.
I like that commentator's curse.
You know, we say it, they prove the exact opposite.
Mio calling a little bit of time and just swinging for the fences was Ellering.
We spoke to it. At some point, Ellering was going to need to flip that switch. Respect, companionship, it's all great. Once that bell rings, you need to get aggressive, especially against a Mio Momono, and that's exactly what we're seeing here.
Sustaining those shots, firing up a little bit is Mio, and Rachel looks all right. Pulling the pads up. Let me load up again. Swinging away is Ellering. But sustaining those shots is Momono. And Ellering now looking to build on that, tripping Momono up, and a kick to the side of the head. And a senton from Ellering on the mark.
Could be
into the cover. Deep leg hook. Only 2.
You can see the frustration creeping in for Rachel Ellering, right? Again, this win, the prospect of this win, I should say, means so much to her. And every time Momono is able to kick out of an offensive onslaught like that, it's got to weigh on her psychologically.
You know, Ellering, I think, seeming more and more confident there. Actually, I think she's starting to feel it a little bit. Maybe sensing she's zeroing in as she just flattens Mio again and right into the cover.
Twisting European uppercut there was not enough. Again, it's a thin line, much like the difference between confidence and cockiness, the difference between feeling it and getting frustrated. A very thin line in and of itself.
Ellering, she's thrown her hand up a couple times saying she's getting closer. Getting ever closer and just teeing off on Mio. Not giving her any daylight. Mio able to get out the back door at the last moment and trying to, I believe, German Rachel Ellering and Rachel.
Ellering saying that it's not going to work.
Yeah, that is not going to happen. And just clocking her again is Ellering and launching her into the corner, but Mio able to escape out to the apron and maybe turning the tide. A lot of heart on display from Mio. Will that rule the day? What a crossbody right into the cover. Ellering could be down, but not out.
Again, Kincaid, I wonder, did Rachel Ellering get a little too comfortable there? Did she start to underestimate Mio Momono, think I have this one in the bag? And now, with a flurry of sit-out drop kicks, Mio Momono might be proving me right.
Mio on fire right now. Ellering getting blitzed.
Mio, of course, loves to employ that JK bomb, the flipping power bomb. Oh, man.
What a drop kick to Ellering, who is trapped on that bottom rope.
Will be interesting to see if she's able to employ the JK bomb against an opponent so much larger. Cover.
Didn't hook the leg. Ellering able to get the shoulder up, but Mio has turned things around here in a big-time way.
I think one of Rachel Ellering's legs is the height of Mio Momono.
You might be right. I've yet to see an official measurement on that. Oh, I think Ellering was looking boss woman slam. Mio able to escape, and now striking.
You mentioned missing the boss woman slam is what cost her West Coast Pro Women's Championship #1 contendership, perhaps once again, but maybe thinking styles clash.
Could be, or no, just going to use that strength, prowess. Just launching Mio and right into a cover. First singles victory. No.
Still not enough for Rachel Ellering.
Rachel starting to feel the effects there, checking her teeth.
And you know, James, this is an impromptu contest for both of these women. Neither of them 2 hours ago knew that this matchup was going to be taking place. However, Mio Momono was expecting to compete.
Yes.
She had her, both of these women had their ring gear, of course, but she had done her pre-match ritual. She had traveled from her native Japan knowing that she had come here to wrestle. The same can't be said for Rachel Ellering. She was just here to support.
That's what I'm talking about, the edge. What sort of mentality was Rachel Ellering coming into this? It doesn't matter right now because she is starting to once again pick Mio apart and picking her up and looking to plant her. No, Ellering got caught. More heartbreak for Ellering, no.
Oh, Mio was milliseconds away from stealing that one, James.
And a backslide, Ellering getting caught yet again. Mio trying with all of her might to keep Ellering down for 3. Again, another counter. Ellering trapped here.
Still not enough, and now it's Mio Momono getting a little frustrated here, James Kincaid. We talk about a lack of victory, a lack of the 3 count, getting in the head of an opponent. That's what we're seeing here.
Once again, going for that German, and Ellering teeing off with those elbows, able to break the hold.
And he just broke in the chest of Momono with those forearms, those chops.
Just swinging with all of her might and keeping her eyes locked on Mio as Ellering and swinging away again. And yeah, almost I don't know if it's frustration or, oh, there she hit it! Using Ellering's own momentum against her and into the pin. What a way to go. No. Ellering just able to get the shoulder up, but
I think as you were alluding to, Kincaid, Ellering almost saying, stay down, almost getting frustrated with Mio, saying, what are you doing?
And Mio, I think, suckered Rachel in, swung with all that momentum, and that is what allowed her to hit that suplex, but charging right back in is Ellering.
Look at the pain on the face of Mio Momono here.
Ellering trying to build up a full head of steam, but Mio charging after, and Mio caught her again in a stomp and into the pin. He's got Rachel, but not for 3. But signaling that it is time.
Heading to the top, the high red district. You got to think Momono looking to end this one.
Sensing it now is Momono, but nobody at the bottom of the well. Ellering able to evade. Can she capitalize? She just decapitated Mio. But still not. Oh no, this is how Ellering lost last month. But able to get the shoulder up this time.
Cradle really there for Momono wasn't enough.
Boss woman slam. Ellering going down swinging and going out with a victory. Her first singles victory in West Coast Pro.
Rachel Ellering.
And Ellering absolutely hit Mio with her best shot, and it's pay dirt for victory for Rachel. What an effort.
There is a first time for everything, and indeed everything was what Rachel Ellering needed to pull out of her back pocket. A hard-fought victory, but the operative word there is victory. You got to think Ellering hoping the first of many.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Way to step in and step up.
Again, Ellering, 2 hours ago, I can't overstate it, fans, had no idea she would be wrestling, let alone against an opponent the caliber of an international superstar like Momono.
Yeah, just was doing the right thing, making the save when Robbie was attacking Mio. And Mio said, hey, I want to have a match. Ellering willing to oblige and seizing that opportunity here at Monster and now giving Momono the ring.
Ellering recently making appearances for Ring of Honor, abiding by the code of honor here. Respect shown, respect earned from Mio Momono.
Absolutely. And got more action rolling your way. Again, we still have 2 title matches to come. That tag team match, I give way once again to Elijah Rutsky.
Your following contest is a singles match scheduled for one fall.
Getting ready for the first of 2 title matches here at Monster. And again, hashtag West Coast Monster as you follow along. Thank you for joining us live wherever you may be as we get a look at Lightning in a Bottle, Sandra Moone.
You know, James Kincaid, we mentioned in our last matchup that Rachel Ellering fell to a certain someone at Whiplash in a #1 contenders match for the West Coast Pro Women's Championship. That certain someone is Lightning in a Bottle herself, challenging for the West Coast Pro Women's Championship for a record 3rd time.
Yeah, and Moone will be looking to capture Lightning in a Bottle and capture that gold that has eluded her. Sandra Moone vied to be the first ever West Coast Pro Women's Champion, ultimately lost to Masha Slamovich, and Slamovich was then dethroned by the current champion, Takumi Iroha, who makes her return here to the Don Quixote in Los Angeles.
Of course, last time we saw her here at the Don Quixote defending against Johnnie Robbie at From the West Coast with Love. Gotta give the devil her due. Johnnie Robbie, incredible performance, even in defeat.
Absolutely. No doubting that, and again, we wish Johnnie Robbie the best in her recovery, and hopefully an attitude adjustment as well.
I can't see that.
Yeah, I can't see it either. You throw in your lot with Los Suavecitos. I don't know. Something not quite right there. As we await the arrival of the reigning and defending West Coast Pro Women's Champion Takumi Iroha and Sandra Moone awaiting as well. Doesn't look to show any nerves, and there is the champion. Of course, such a huge part of Marvelous, our sister promotion here at West Coast Pro Wrestling.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, the ace of Marvelous.
Absolutely.
The protege of one Chigusa Nagayo, and someone who has really carried the torch of everything Nagayo represents for the better part of a decade.
Yeah, and carried that torch all the way over here to West Coast Pro Wrestling to become West Coast Pro Women's Champion. Doing the, for what I think a lot of people thought was the unthinkable, defeating Masha Slamovich. It looked like no one was going to be able to stun the momentum of Masha, but Takumi Iroha did just that. Beat Masha for the title, successfully defended against Robbie, and then also successfully defended against Masha again.
Yeah, it's one thing to defeat Russian Dynamite. To do so twice, unheard of.
It is for the West Coast Pro Women's Championship. And the best sound, your initial charge, Wickett. Introducing the challenger in the black corner, defending the Suavecitos division, sponsored by Starboy. She is lightning in a bottle, Sandra Moone. Introducing the champion in the blue corner, from Fukuoka, Japan. She is the reigning and defending West Coast Pro Women's Champion, Takumi Iroha.
Big fight feel here tonight in the Don Quixote, James Kincaid. We still have 2 more title matches left to go.
Set to get underway. West Coast Pro Women's Championship on the line. And we mentioned it briefly, but Takumi Iroha has successfully defended that championship against Sandra Moone in her home of Japan. So now back stateside, we'll see if perhaps that gives Sandra the edge, but then again, Takumi Iroha successfully defended in this very building against Robbie, so familiar with this venue as well.
You say that. Not only did Takumi Iroha successfully defend her championship in her native land of the rising sun against Sandra Moone, a couple weeks later at Prestige Wrestling's Decimate the Week in Portland, Oregon, stateside back in North America, Iroha defeated Sandra again. So by my count, she's officially 2-0 over lightning in a bottle.
Does that start to creep into Sandra Moone's mind? But, I mean, she's just so tenacious and so optimistic and positive is Sandra Moone. I'm sure she probably looks at those first two as, hey, learning experiences I can get better from, and next time I'm going to get you.
An infectious positivity from Sandra Moone, and one that has really done her well in West Coast Pro. A sneakily successful singles career. Wins over the likes of Vert Vixen, Jungle Kiona, Milo, Maddie Renkowski, Jordan Blue.
And, of course, at Whiplash, Rachel Ellering, and that is what led us to tonight here at Monster, her becoming the #1 contender for Iroha's championship. And wrenching the neck of Moone is Iroha, taking her down. But Moone countering into a pin. Iroha's got to be careful there, but just the torque on the neck of Moone. She's got to be in a lot of pain. But Iroha's got to be careful. She nearly got caught there.
Yeah, the calm demeanor of Takumi Iroha, it's almost eerie against a competitor like Sandra Moone. In a match as big as a West Coast Pro Women's Championship defense, she remains so composed. It's perpetually impressive, Kincaid.
Collision in the center of the ring. Absolutely incredibly impressive. Another collision, but neither woman really backing down or getting the better of the other. Iroha beckoning Moone in.
I talked with Sandra Moone before this matchup. She was telling me that her and Iroha developed a very close friendship during her excursion to Japan.
Moone, no friendship there. Moone taking the champion down and staring her down.
Well, and that speaks to my point. She was saying her and Takumi Iroha became such good friends. It's all about heart. It's all about heart in the ring with the champion. But all that goes out the window. The heart doesn't mean that she takes it easy. The heart means she gives Takumi Iroha everything she has to give, because that is what Iroha is worth.
That's what she's worth, and that's what Moone expects in kind from the champion. She's, as we've stated, seen it before. Has Moone learned from the passes? What a flurry from Iroha, a vicious combination, and she's not done. Coming in, Moone is down, Moone is hurt, and Iroha is in control.
Perhaps softening Moone's neck up for that running 3 Razor's Edge.
Could be looking forward now. No, too soon, says Iroha. Oh, look at that! Moone just reversing polarities and suplexing the champion.
Yeah, seemingly
what
out of nowhere.
Beautiful counter. Snap suplex to Iroha, and Moone charging in with the crossbody attack.
And we've seen this before, James Kincaid. Vintage Sandra Moone.
From one corner to the other, putting a twist on an old favorite from outside the apron side, starting those clubbing blows to Iroha.
6, 7, 8, 9. Licking her fingers, licking her chops.
Oh, no.
Maybe took a second too long there, James.
Iroha had it scouted, and Iroha sending Moone from the top rope on down, and a kick right to the spine.
I mean, Iroha very clearly has a target from my vantage point. She is softening that neck and that back up for the running 3.
What a reversal of fortunes for Sandra Moone. Took too much time, and there's the snap suplex that Iroha was looking for, right into the cover. Moone able to just get the shoulder up, but things turned around on Sandra in a hurry there. A little bit too much style points she was going for, and you can't do that against Iroha. That's how you get hurt, and right now Moone is hurt bad.
Let me ask you this, James. If you're Sandra Moone, you've lost to Takumi Iroha twice now. Once with this very same championship on the line. How do you readjust your strategy so Iroha doesn't get the hat trick?
I think you've got to study the tape on what happened in all those previous encounters, and you have to just try and add new wrinkles to your game, I think, when Iroha least expect it. But Iroha right now in full control, just slashing at Sandra Moone. And I think Takumi is enjoying herself in there right now.
Yeah, big smile across her face. Slowing things down to a methodical pace is Takumi Iroha.
Moone needs something, anything to create a little bit of distance. She got it right there in the sliding clothesline. Going for the cover, right into the cover. Caught Iroha there, but only 2.
Perhaps too deep a cover, as strange as that might sound to say. Perhaps too deep a cover, giving Iroha the leverage she needed to get that shoulder up.
Yeah, Moone just throwing herself at the champion. Full force, but Iroha coming right back, wheeling through the air and flooring the challenger.
Sheer disrespect. I mean, we mentioned the respect, we mentioned the friendship between these two. You wouldn't know it looking at the way Iroha is treating Moone right now.
I think that's just how she does business, no matter who is in there between the bell. There are no friends, especially when there's gold on the line. And look at Iroha just kicking away at Moone while keeping eyes locked with Ref Gill.
Maybe trying to get in Sandra's head right now. She might already be there.
Iroha feeling it right now. Moone down and out. Latest title challenge perhaps slipping through her fingers as Iroha is also stepping on them.
Oh, man.
Both hands of Moone trapped.
Her entire body weight on both of the hands of Sandra Moone.
And then stomping on both again. You see Moone just howling in pain, cradling those hands.
Well, we know that Sandra Moone loves to employ that Moone's Landing, the gut-wrench powerbomb. She loves to employ that Moon struck, the face buster here. She's not going to be able to lock Takumi Iroha's abdomen or her arms if her fingers are out of the equation.
Sandra Moone doing whatever she can to get back up to her feet and back in this fight. But she is taking a beating. But not backing down from the champion. It's Sandra Moone, but now Iroha just lighting her up. Oh, Sandra able to counter. What an elbow to the face. And another haymaker. down to one knee goes the champion, and
licking those fingers once again.
Finger licking good, and once again it cost Sandra Moone.
Was going for that signature thrust kick, but Moone, you see the axe handle to her own leg, using that momentum to release.
Moone maybe learning on the fly here, but Iroha with the backslide. Moone's shoulders are down, but only for two. Iroha charging in, and I think, yes, Moone has learned a lot from those previous encounters. Starting to duck the champion's offense and turn it into attacks of her own.
Perhaps third time the charm here, just battering away at the back of Takumi Iroha.
Yeah, selling out to get this is Sandra Moone. And taking her time with it. And this time she scores. And Iroha, the champion, is floored, sent to the outside.
Hey, listen, Sandra Moone may not be a native of Los Angeles locally, but the West Coast is her home, and she's
Sandra
proven as much
Moone
here.
Gonna fly here and sending the champion into those chairs. Sending her into the crowd here at the Don Quixote. And Sandra Moone,
you know, typically,
has new life.
Typically, James, lightning comes from the skies. Tonight, lightning taking to the skies. Lightning in the bottle, that is.
And here in LA, Sandra Moone looking to become new West Coast Pro Women's Champion. Not to be yet.
Takumi Iroha is resilient. You don't beat the likes of Masha Slamovich and Johnnie Robbie. You don't retain your championship against the likes of Masha Slamovich and Johnnie Robbie without a certain level of resilience.
Sandra Moone knows that better than anyone, but the challenger looking great right now, signaling that, yes, that title is coming home with me.
Sandra Moone looking to become only the third West Coast Pro Women's Champion in company history here.
Putting the brakes on what Moone had in mind is Iroha once again going to that headlock. And Iroha swinging wildly, coming up empty.
Moonstruck!
Moonstruck could be new champion. Sandra Moone into the cover. New champion history going to be made here? No.
Nah, she might have hit Moonstruck, but she did not strike gold here tonight. Sandra Moone still 1 second away.
Not the finale that Moone was hoping for after hitting Moonstruck, but still in control, has to recalibrate here, stay on the champion. And she could get the result that she wants. And Sandra Moone going up to the top rope.
James, I've called a lot of Sandra Moone matches. I can count on one hand the amount of time she's taken to the high red district. This is unusual behavior from Lightning in a Bottle. Speaks to how badly she wants this.
Absolutely. Maybe, you know, that new wrinkle to her game that she wanted to throw at Iroha, but it might be costing her here, going high risk, and it's going to backfire as Iroha looking to launch Sandra Moone, and that could be the end of Sandra's latest title hope. What a superplex. And rolling through is Iroha. Got her in a guillotine, it looks like.
No wasted motion from Takumi Iroha. And didn't take a second.
And Moone is fading here. Her title hopes fading. Moone is going to be out if she doesn't find a way out of this submission.
I mean, she has nowhere to go. Center of the ring. Oh, as soon as I say it, back up to a vertical base.
Iroha, I think, sensed that she was starting to lose her grip, changing her plan of attack.
I mean, credit where credit's due. Takumi Iroha is keeping that guillotine choke locked in for as long as she was able.
Oh, what a kick to the side of the head, and Moone just collapsing. You hear the awe of the crowd there as Moone now lies prone in the West Coast Pro ring, and now it is Iroha who is going up top, looking to put the finishing touches on her latest title defense. And Swanton on the button.
That's
Count
done. She's retaining.
No, not yet. Sandra Moone just gets the shoulder up. Iroha can scarcely believe it. Thought it was 3. It was, in fact, 2. That right shoulder shot up, but how much is left in the tank for Sandra Moone?
I was sure it was 3, James Kincaid. She landed every single inch of that, and still Moone finding it within her to kick out.
But now Iroha was teasing that running 3, perhaps, looking to do more damage to Sandra Moone.
Propping her atop the top rope.
Running 3, not yet. Oh, but the kick right to the face. Rocking Moone back into the corner.
I mentioned in the early going, softening up the neck, softening up the back. Sandra Moone not going to give her the opportunity to land.
Moone doing whatever she can. Moone counters But landing on her feet is the champion, Iroha, but right into the clothesline of the challenger.
And Sandra Moone inching towards the cover here, James.
Not going quietly, inching towards the cover. Does she have more in mind? She's signaling it's the end. Moone.
Oh, look at that. I'm not sure if our cameras caught it, but a single-fingered salute from Takumi Iroha.
Selling out big here. The Blue Thunder Bomb. Will that deliver the championship? She's got the shoulders down, but not for 3. Iroha now is the one that just gets the shoulder up. Moone can't believe it.
The fiery spirit, the never-say-die attitude of Sandra Moone being tested, being put to its limit here tonight.
A duel of resilience from both these women here for the championship. It's Sandra Moone. Now what does she have in mind? Going for it again, and eats another kick for her trouble.
James, I think she went to...
Iroha's staggered, but Moone coming back in.
I think she went to the well one too many times!
No, German Iroha's awake. Iroha's on fire. And she might have just KO'd Sandra Moone.
Sandra Moone is awake. Sandra Moone is on fire, Kincaid. Rolling elbow.
Dueling inferno. Will that be enough to put Moone away? No, just getting the shoulder up. I won't call it a kick out. She just raised the shoulder. Lights were dimming on Sandra Moone, but enough left still just raise that shoulder.
Yeah, perhaps instinct alone from Sandra Moone, but nevertheless, the fight continues, if only for the moment.
Iroha measuring, lightning in a bottle, defiant to the very end, and she countered, suckered Iroha in, will be enough to deliver the championship. Just escaping is Iroha. Back and forth they go, and another kick. Following it up now. And just falling down in a heap is Moone.
Yeah, we talk about the composure of Takumi Iroha. Those middle fingers from Sandra Moone may have finally got in her head.
And Sandra is trapped now.
Oh no, what is this?
Sandra in the most precarious of positions with a striker like Iroha, kick right to the head.
And Sandra Moone's dead to rights here, James.
She's got to be KO'd there and now. Iroha going for it, running 3.
Knight.
Can you put 3 on the board for the champion? Yes.
Here is your winner, and still West Coast Pro Women's Champion, Takumi Iroha!
What a back and forth battle, but another successful title defense for Takumi Iroha. Hit the running 3.
Sandra Moone is still knocked out cold, and Takumi Iroha with the embrace of her fallen friend.
I think she knows just what kind of effort Sandra Moone gave and how close Sandra Moone was to becoming the new West Coast Pro Women's Champion. KO'd Sandra Moone and then hit that running 3, I think just for added emphasis. Like you said, Moone's still down, struggling to come to here.
To quote the excellent 2009 Jesse Eisenberg vehicle, Zombieland, Takumi Iroha with the double tap, and the double tap paying dividends tonight. Her second successful defense of the West Coast Pro Women's Championship against Sandra Moone.
And now as Moone struggles to regain her bearings, you see the outstretched hand of Takumi Iroha, and of course, you expect nothing less from Sandra Moone to accept that. What a battle between those two, and I know another bitter defeat for Sandra Moone, but you gotta believe there will be better days ahead for her.
Absolutely, a once-in-a-generation talent is Sandra Moone, and though she is no doubt distraught after this defeat, a very valiant effort. Better by the day is lightning in a bottle.
Another learning lesson for Sandra Moone, but another big-time defense for Takumi Iroha. And Jordan, we are at the time that we are hitting that double main event and another title match coming your way. Take it away, Elijah.
It is now time for your first main event of 2 main events of the evening.
That's just how we do it in the coast, James Kincaid. Takumi Iroha versus Sandra Moone could have main evented any professional wrestling show in the world, but we got not 1, but 2 left standing.
Our next title match here, West Coast Pro Championship set to be decided as Jack Cartwheel makes his return to West Coast Pro Wrestling in a major way, part of this double main event. What an opportunity for that young man.
And it needs to be stated, James Kincaid, Jack Cartwheel is not the #1 contender for the West Coast Pro Heavyweight Championship, at least not officially. That honor belongs to Alpha Zoe after his defeat of Bryan Keith at Whiplash. However, as we mentioned, Zoe currently in the land of the rising sun, currently on excursion to Japan, unable to fulfill that obligation tonight. Will have an opportunity at a later date, but where there is absence, there is opportunity, and Cartwheel stepping up to the plate.
They're looking to make the most of that opportunity. And do these pre-bell cartwheels count towards the cartwheel counter?
No,
Okay.
no. I spoke with Veda Scott, and I understand it is only after the bell rings.
Okay. All right, so after the bell, we'll get the cartwheel counter going. Let me
mark it down. Mark it down. Come on.
Try and mark it down.
It's important, James. All right, I kind of feel like you're being cavalier about
being
this.
Unofficial score counter of the cartwheel counter here. And there you see the West Coast Pro Champion, the Denim Dragon, Starboy Charlie, just continuing. I mean, look, the best shape of his life. Starboy just continues this ascent. He's already West Coast Pro Champion. What a year it's been for him, winning the West Coast Cup. And not only becoming West Coast Pro Champion, but doing it in, I think, a dream scenario for him, slaying his arch rival, slaying not the Denim Dragon, but the franchise Titus Alexander to become West Coast Pro Champion.
Yeah.
It's such a huge moment for him. Followed that up with a successful title defense against Chris Bay. I mean, it's just been monumental stuff for Starboy, and he's just really coming to his own here. It's just, I mean, he's starting to let more of that personality shine through, too.
I mean, that air guitar would give Kyle O'Reilly a run for his money, but you're right, James. It was the Denim Dragon doing the slaying, and tonight, in his second defense of the title after defeating Chris Bay at Whiplash, well, it's no easy night at the office, these two NorCal boys.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall, and it is for the West Coast Pro Heavyweight Championship. When the bell sounds, your position is in charge. Referee Spooky Valor. Introducing the challenger in the black corner from Sacramento, California, weighing at 109 pounds, Jack Cartwheel.
Jack Cartwheel.
In the blue corner from Pacific, California, weighing at 107 pounds, he is the reigning and defending West Coast Pro Heavyweight Champion, the Denim Dragon, Starboy Charlie.
And again, I love seeing that confidence pour out of Starboy Charlie. You see how much he covets that West Coast Pro Championship. But Jack Cartwheel, again, as he gets his eyes on the prize there, what an opportunity for him.
Well, listen, James, we are here in Los Angeles, but as I'm sure you can attest to, West Coast Pro Wrestling is a NorCal-based promotion. We are the coast for a reason. We are dead set in the heart of the Bay, and so how apropos that we'd have one from Pacifica, one from Sacramento, duking it out for championship gold here in this, our double main event.
Two NorCal competitors, they know each other pretty well, and here we go. The bell is rung, so we are underway here.
This is when the counter begins.
First of two main events. And
there's one. For fans at home, James Kincaid is keeping score on a piece of paper. What a professional.
I do my best. I endeavor to do my best in all things, and is. Wow. Oh, Starboy Charlie saying no cartwheels.
Well, listen, James. Jack Cartwheel willing referee Sparky to do a cartwheel.
Now, will that count towards the counter?
No, it's only when Jack does that. Important distinction. I was confused about that myself.
Yeah, we know it's
Pretty great, I gotta be honest. It might not count on the counter, but it's pretty awesome.
And the crowd here at the Don Quixote showing their appreciation for Sparky's cartwheel, and now the Jack and Sparky, I think, imploring Starboy to give them what they want.
You got it.
Oh no!
Jack cartwheel!
Jack suckered him in. Was maybe looking for a tombstone. Round and round they go here with it. Who's gonna plant the other?
See, does that count as a cartwheel since they both kind of? I'm not sure.
I think it could count for 3 though. Could be new champion. No, Starboy able to counter back and forth. That was perilous. That was very opportunistic by Jack Cartwheel there.
Well, James Kincaid, that is the thing about Jack Cartwheel, the intangible about Jack Cartwheel. You hear his name, you see him cartwheeling to the ring, you see him asking his opponents or perhaps the official to do a cartwheel, and you think, oh, this guy's all fun, he's all shtick. But that's not the case. From my vantage point, the cartwheels are what he uses to sucker his opponents in, and indeed nearly became West Coast Pro Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, Dave, stun and scatter him with the flash, and he caught the champion again there, not for 3. And this one is, I think, going to pick up pace in a hurry here. Cartwheel showing off the incredible acrobatic skill, sweeping the legs of Starboy Charlie, and from the apron on down with the elbow, landing a lot of that body on the champion of Starboy to the outside, and you got to be careful when you're out there because no reprieve from Jack Cartwheel.
2, 3, wait.
And a super kick there from Cartwheel. Hitting it from the apron.
I believe that was 2. I'm already losing count, James Kincaid. Fans, this matchup...
Unofficial counter, we're at 2.
This matchup feels like... There's 3. This matchup feels like looking into a crystal ball of professional wrestling. These two individuals, these two competitors, the future of this industry, but only one can walk away heavyweight champion.
Cartwheel was looking for a cutter. Starboy put a stop to that. And Leo leapt right into an inverted atomic drop and a close quarters drop kick from the champion, who now shows that he can flip with the best of them right into a cover, but only 2.
Again, Starboy Charlie, not just a high-flying young gun. He saw Cartwheel leapfrogging into the air. He put his knee directly towards where he knew that breadbasket would be landing. Such smart wrestling. Exactly why he's the champion.
I mean, at only 20 years of age, the West Coast Pro Champion has seen so much in his career to the point where he's one of the trainers at the West Coast Pro Training Academy. I mean, that is just such an incredible feat. At 20 years old, he is training others on how to be some of the very best in the world.
Well, again,
incredible stuff.
Starboy Charlie means so much to West Coast Pro, and likewise, West Coast Pro means so much to Starboy Charlie. I spoke to it earlier with the West Coast Wrecking Crew. He's one of the very few competitors on this card who have been with this promotion since its infamousy, since the pre-pandemic days, since West Coast Pro was the hot place to be, when we were really in our building phase. And Starboy Charlie, I know, takes pride in that as champion.
As well he should. Foundational piece here of West Coast Pro Wrestling. And just locked up in there with Jack Cartwheel. Neither man able to gain an advantage for the moment. Cartwheel stringing together those strikes there, looking to Irish whip the champion, ducking under and catching with a cartwheeling power slam.
4.
And into the cover. Will it be 3? Not yet.
4th cartwheel, but not a 3 count.
Indeed, but looking to keep the press on Starboy Charlie is the challenger.
A very unorthodox submission maneuver here from Jack Cartwheel.
Yeah, maybe not so much. Oh, yeah, Starboy in a lot of pain here, splitting the legs and putting, just a lot of torque on the lower body of Starboy.
Well, I think
gotta be careful. Could tear a flexor in there.
I think this is intentional on the part of Jack Cartwheel, this unorthodox submission maneuver, trying to keep Starboy Charlie's shoulders as close to the mat as they can, so every time he wriggles around looking for some sort of reprieve, he puts himself in a pinning predicament. Yeah. Starboy Charlie able to reverse it before I finish my point.
And Jack knows that Starboy can fly too, so maybe attacking the legs to try and ground the champion a little bit.
Both of these men are high flyers. Hold on!
Speak of the devil, landing on his feet on the apron, trapping Cartwheel.
Almost an octopus stretch.
Yeah, he's got him. Can't win the title that way, but can pose for a few photos. Got to be careful not to get disqualified here. Releasing the hold. Damage may be done as Cartwheel is lying on his back in the center of the ring.
If you took a screenshot of that and you plan on posting it, make sure you use that hashtag West Coast Monster.
Absolutely, and we thank you for joining us here as we are live in LA at the Don Quixote. Starboy Charlie flying from the top rope, but nobody home for him. As Jack Cartwheel showing off his ring acumen, able to evade and capturing Charlie and planting the champion. Is Jack Cartwheel, will he be new champ here? No, just getting the shoulder up is the Starboy.
You mentioned Jack Cartwheel and Starboy Charlie, very familiar with each other. Of course, opponents tonight, but have teamed together a few notable times this year. Against the Acclaimed on an episode of AEW Rampage, of course, former AEW Tag Team Champions, current AEW Trios Champions, and then alongside Real One Enzo at New Japan All-Star Junior Festival. So these two very, very familiar, and of course, most notably for our purposes, alongside Kevin Knight in a losing effort at West Coast Pro's 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge.
So it was up in Sacramento, home turf for Jack Cartwheel, as Starboy Charlie desperately trying to fight out of Cartwheel's offense, able to do so. Can Starboy follow up now, slicing Jack Cartwheel, center of the black and blue, the Denim Dragon, looking to build off that.
Talk about dragons.
Swinging away and missing, landing on his feet, maybe tweaked something there though, something to keep an eye on with Charlie. Looked like he reached for the knee. But the knee to the midsection of Cartwheel, and charging in again is the champion, fired up, sizing up Cartwheel, corkscrewing from a standing position into the cover, into another successful defense. Not so at this juncture.
You know, it's interesting. Starboy Charlie, clearly a high flyer, as we saw here, no doubt about that, but every time the champion regains control, he seems to slow down the pace a little bit, James Kincaid.
Yeah, I think, well, Starboy is a very, he can fly, but he is so well-rounded. High flyer, has a boxing background so he can strike, and he is a great purveyor of this Gotch pile driver. He's put a lot of people away with this.
But Jack Cartwheel, not one of them, at least not yet.
So, again, at only 20 years old, what a well-rounded champion we have in Starboy Charlie. Cartwheel was looking for a drop toe hold into the corner turnbuckle, but ate the turnbuckle himself for his trouble. Nice reversal from Starboy. And again, I talked about it, best shape of his life, Starboy Charlie.
Absolutely. He's put on mass, and that means he's put on power. And Cartwheel knows it. Very wise to escape the sit-out dropkick, the basement dropkick attempt.
And now Cartwheel locked on target, cartwheeling out over the top rope and on top of the champion.
Sasuke special, and Cartwheel officially one step closer to becoming the new champion.
Into the cover, dead center of the ring. Starboy gets the shoulder up.
I mean, what a paradigm shift it would be for West Coast Pro Wrestling if Jack Cartwheel became the heavyweight champion. No stranger to the coast, but certainly not a regular or a fixture in the same way that Starboy Charlie is.
Well, if he were to capture that gold, I guarantee you that would change in a heartbeat. But what a showing for the challenger right now. He's sensing it, signaling that he's going to be champion.
El Nino Maravilla, a nickname he picked up in his time wrestling in Mexico. Of course, translates to the Wonder Boy. Right now, the Wonder Boy with his 6th cartwheel, looking to put away the Starboy.
I'm up to 7 by my count.
Oh, man.
I quibble, though. I quibble. On the Sasuke, I gave him 1.
You included the Sasuke. Why?
It's a cartwheel to the outside. Anyway, nobody home.
Call it 7, call it 8, whatever it is. It saved Jack Cartwheel's night.
And coming in again, Starboy hanging with the Thez press, and now starting to tee off on the challenger.
That was 9, but it might have cost Cartwheel. Starboy Charlie meeting him, and down come the straps.
Straps are down. Starboy Charlie looking to zero in on his challenger. Cartwheel able to counter. I think Charlie was looking Poison Rana there perhaps. Cartwheel saw it coming, able to create just enough distance to counter. Starboy going back to it, this time spikes Cartwheel.
If at first you don't succeed, try again, but look at this, crucifix bomb from Cartwheel.
How does he do that and still not get the 3 count? Cartwheel just throwing caution to the wind there, just rolling with, I think now the damage is setting in from that Poison Rana. Cartwheel is down. The champion is down.
We talk about how well these two competitors know each other from teaming in AEW, New Japan, and here in the Coast. Right now we're seeing that on full display, having an answer for everything, predicting each other's next move.
Who is going to get up to their feet first?
I mean, both men are rocked, clearly, James.
Yeah, absolutely. That crucifix bomb, the Poison Rana on the other end. And now just going forehead to forehead here on their knees in the center of the black and blue, trying to fight their way up to their feet.
You know, James, we were talking before we went live about the newfound aggression that Starboy Charlie showed, perhaps to the chagrin of much of the West Coast Pro flock in the West Coast Cup, targeting injuries of Alpha Zoe. I think some of that newfound aggression creeping into his battle with Cartwheel tonight.
Well, Cartwheel was showing some aggression with those strikes, able to once again land on his feet, scoring with another super kick, but Charlie with one of his own. But cartwheeling right through it is Jack.
On adrenaline alone, Cartwheel will not go down.
Certainly not going quietly. Nothing quiet about those shots, and the Pele from the champion.
Still back on his feet after all of this. Cartwheel will not stay down.
Just fighting through it. Didn't seem to phase Cartwheel in the moment, but I think almost like a delayed, like the adrenaline then starts to wear off, and he's starting to feel all of those hits from the champion.
Well, you're absolutely right, James. You reach that point where your soul and your heart and your spirit wills you on, but at a certain point, that gives up. The body just can't go any longer.
Yeah, spirit willing, but the body might not be. And look at that, Charlie following Cartwheel in, and that could be a fatal mistake for his title hopes.
This time the Pele landed. And you talk about the Gotch-style pile driver. How about avalanche from the top?
Well, that'll be curtains for Cartwheel, but he's able to turn it around and DVD from the top.
That is a Cartwheel Death Valley driver, but the challenger has to, I was going to say he has to capitalize, but instead looking to return to the top.
Not going for the cover. I'm going to put an exclamation point on capturing the title, it looks like, is Jack Cartwheel.
I'm not sure I understand or agree with this, James.
From the top on down. No! Starboy got the knees up. Starboy got the knees up, and now he's going to force Cartwheel to submit. A mistake from Cartwheel. Oh, no, countering.
Cartwheel countered the crossface, but I think Cartwheel looking for that extra emphasis might have cost him here.
Kick from Charlie. Caught Cartwheel, but back and forth they go. Jack Knight, look at Charlie with the bridge, the strength on Charlie right into the pile driver, spiking Cartwheel and sealing the deal for another title defense. The Denim Dragon stands tall, still the West Coast Pro Champion. Another successful title defense. Able to bridge out of that pin and right into the Gotch pile driver. What a finish.
Yeah, you know, James Kincaid, we may have lost track of the Cartwheel counter somewhere along the way, but right now, the only number that matters is 2. This, the second successful title defense for Starboy Charlie.
Second defense, able to get the ever-important 1, 2, 3, and now Starboy hits the cartwheel.
He's a serious wrestler. He won't do it until after the match is won.
Go on, celebrate now if you got it in you, Starboy. And dejected and frustrated his cartwheel. I think he's rethinking, after hitting that Death Valley driver off the top. Should have gone for the pin there, perhaps. Maybe would have been new champion, but we'll never know now.
And neither will Cartwheel. It's the exact opposite story as we saw in our previous championship match. Takumi Iroha double tap. She pulled the zombie land. Worked out well for her. Jack Cartwheel tried to do the same. Did not get the result he expected.
Something that might keep Cartwheel up at night, but when Starboy Charlie wakes up tomorrow, he is still your West Coast Pro champion.
Chad Cartwheel saying it was his Corolla that got towed. He had the blue Corolla.
That is a tough night for Jack Cartwheel, I will say. That is an understatement.
2 losses, James Kincaid. But up next, no one is going to be losing because this match is a treat for everyone in attendance.
A tag team match for the ages.
Enjoying the action tonight, and it's now time for your
You know, James Kincaid, the phrase dream match gets thrown around way too regularly. But I challenge you, hell, I dare you to show me a bigger dream match than what we have on tap right now.
Tag team main event here. And you're right. And like I said, a tag team match for the ages. Something that, you know, a couple short weeks ago, I don't think any of us would have thought was possible.
Yeah, maybe in a video game or with action figures.
But after a 3.5-year hiatus, Chris Hero is back. And tonight he has brought Kenta with him. And it was at the end of Whiplash that Chris Hero laid down the challenge to that man, the aesthetic crippler, Kevin Blackwood. And as you see the sign that says, yeah, that boy ain't right. And it's really true. He hasn't been right for a long time in West Coast Pro Wrestling. Threw in his lot with Alan Angels for a long time period. And it's just sort of, I don't know, sort of searching for something. I'm not quite sure what that something is.
Interesting.
But he's been a thorn in the side of Chris Hero, and it's just really made a lot of people's lives miserable at West Coast Pro.
If you're a first-time viewer of West Coast Pro and you're a Kevin Blackwood fan, you're in store for a very different Kevin Blackwood. As you said, can't quite put our finger on him. The aesthetic crippler is a totally different beast here on the coast.
And making his return fresh off the plane from Japan. Again, part of that talent exchange with Marvelous. The former West Coast Pro champion, the franchise Titus Alexander, and yes, still the most punchable face in pro wrestling. But how will Titus rebound and recalibrate here? I know he was upset about being put into this matchup by Chris Hero, cutting his trip to Japan short, and again, out of the frying pan into the fire. You get off the plane from that tour of Japan, and you've got, again, an incredible matchup. Can't wait to see it unfold, but no rest for the Wicked, and none much more wicked than Titus Alexander.
Wait for impartial commentary, James Kincaid, but nevertheless, Titus Alexander, talking to both of us, begrudgingly I might add, a little bit earlier on tonight, very upset. Hero forcing him to return home early from Japan for this matchup. A treat for us, but a nightmare for him.
Yeah, a dream match for so many that could also become a nightmare for either team. As an odd feeling falls over the crowd here at the Don Quixote in Los Angeles. West Coast Pro has created a monster.
He's home! You know, James Kincaid, there has been a great deal of talk about the go to sleep in the world of professional wrestling over the last week. But here we see the man who created it and the man who, for the last 2 decades, has been putting people to sleep with it.
And he's got 2 great options to use it on in that ring right now. I'd love to see him hit it on both those guys. It would be great. I'm sure it would delight the crowd here, but what a moment. Kenta making his West Coast Pro debut. No hocus pocus, just focus on the face of that man. What an atmosphere here in LA.
Kenta, former never openweight champion, former IWGP US champion, the only 2-time New Japan Strong openweight champion in history. Tonight,
and listen to this crowd though chant for his partner.
Joining forces with an old foe.
And it still hasn't quite fully sunk in that the knockout artist, the wrestling genius, Chris Hero, is back, but he is returning in Whiplash, defeating Timothy Thatcher emphatically, then setting this matchup, and there he is yet again. Chris Hero all the way back.
You know, James Kincaid, there are moments as commentators where you pinch yourself, that you get the opportunity to have the best seat in the house, to have some small part in magic like this, and that is what we are witnessing here tonight. The first time in half a decade, the wrestling genius returns to Southern California. Years of wars here against the likes of Bryan Danielson, Zack Sabre Jr., Akira Tozawa, the list goes on and on. A homecoming for Hero.
Let me sum it up. It's you see the name on the back of that jacket there. He is a giant among legends, Chris Hero.
Couldn't have said it better myself. LL Cool J said, don't call it a comeback. In that very same song, LL Cool J also said, Mama said knock you out. And indeed, James Kincaid, Mama must be screaming because the knockout artist has arrived.
And again, two great options to do just that. Chris Hero teased retirement after he defeated Thatcher at Whiplash, just to, I think, get a rise out of some of us, yours truly included.
And he got me. I was watching along on YouTube. He got me.
His run is not done, not by a long shot.
Introducing our Blackwood. First from Buffalo, New York, weighing in at 187 pounds, Blackwood. And his partner from Sacramento, California, weighing in at 201 pounds. He is the Grand Titus.
And the bell has not even rung. Again, the atmosphere is electric. The action is about to become frightfully hectic. Four incredible battlers about to do what they do best. Go ahead, Jordan Castle.
James Kincaid, simply put, without hyperbole, I would not be sitting in this chair next to you without those two men, Chris Hero and Kenta. An honor to be sat beside you for this, a dream match main event.
James Kincaid calling the action alongside Jordan Castle. Happy to be sharing in this with you, my friend, and happy to be sharing it with all of the West Coast Pro and wrestling fans all around the world. Hashtag West Coast Monster. It is main event time. We are underway. Kenta and Blackwood starting things off. And look at the face of Kevin Blackwood. Blackwood talking a lot of smack, talking about, listen to this crowd. Coming unglued here, the West Coast flock, and Titus Alexander trying to cover the ears of Blackwood. Blackwood had said, you know, maybe back in the mid-2000s I would have feared Kenta, but I don't fear this version. Big talk from the aesthetic crippler.
Yeah, saying he's not the same Kevin Blackwood who 1 year ago took a photo with Kenta, excited and eager. He wants to put Kenta in his place, but maybe a little more bark than bite as he tags in Titus Alexander.
Yeah, tagging in Titus, refusing to actually touch with Kenta, and now Chris Hero, who I think really wants to get his hands on Titus Alexander. Again, both these men, thorns in the side of our head matchmaker, now newly returned pro wrestling icon Chris Hero. And look at Titus.
Come
again,
on.
Using Sparky Ballard. I see he has learned nothing from the defeat at the hands of Starboy Charlie. Runs in the family.
Ugly, yeah. Kiss me,
buy me a Coke. Blackwood back in there now. And I think Chris Hero really would love to just get his hands on both these guys and teach them a lesson. I mean, that is what has brought us here tonight.
Well, listen, specifically the reason that this matchup happened is because at Whiplash, that very same event where Hero defeated Timothy Thatcher and then laid out the gauntlet, in the opening contest after being defeated by Jiah Jewell, Kevin Blackwood attacked him after the match. So Hero said, hey, you want to be a bully? You want to act like a D-head? You want to abuse people? It doesn't work here.
Yeah, not once you pick on somebody like me and Hero just depositing Blackwood down to the mat. And I mean, it goes beyond that too. I mean, Blackwood has made a mockery of some of Hero's booking decisions, including in the West Coast Cup. And I think Hero's just had enough of both of the antics of both Blackwood and Titus Alexander.
Listen, James, Chris Hero prides himself on being a mentor, on being a coach, on giving back to the world of professional wrestling, specifically here in his home of the coast. He talked about as much on the most recent edition of the AEW Unrestricted podcast. I think part of what's so frustrating for Hero is he sees such potential in Kevin Blackwood. He sees such potential in Titus Alexander, and he sees that because of their ego, because of their attitude, that potential is going to waste. This is perhaps some tough love.
Yeah, I think that's very well said. A chance to knock and beat some sense into both of them. Of course, Titus Alexander has had a tremendous amount of success in the West Coast ring. So has Kevin Blackwood. But again, we talk about he's sort of searching for something. This attitude makeover has not been for the better of the aesthetic crippler as he's trying to get one up on Chris Hero, and nothing doing yet for Blackwood. Hero starting to throw him around a little bit in there. And playing with Blackwood.
Listen, Hero may have been an authority figure over the course of the past year here in West Coast Pro, but he has an ego. He has a hubris in and of himself.
He takes a lot of pride in his body of work, and who can blame him? Look at that. Blackwood just unloading on Kenta. A sneak attack, but Hero giving it right back to Blackwood on behalf of his partner.
Blackwood wants to put Kenta in his place, but he's only going to hit the guy when he's the illegal partner, when he's the illegal competitor.
That sounds about right for the aesthetic crippler that we've seen of late. Chris Hero in control, trying to take it to Kevin Blackwood's got that wrist control, and I think what was Hero have in mind here? Little digit manipulation. I think Blackwood offered up those fingers, and Hero all too willing to take advantage of him and take him apart. Oh, nasty.
He'll be lucky if he doesn't tear Kevin Blackwood's hand in two after this. My goodness.
And a stomping on the hand and the elbow. Joint could be destroyed there. Blackwood in a bad way.
You think Kevin Blackwood is regretting some of his words and his actions towards Chris Hero right now?
To be honest, I doubt it. I don't think he really regrets much of anything. In spite of the world of hurt, he now finds himself in it. Kenta is tagging, and Blackwood just beelines it for Titus Alexander. The franchise back to being the legal man. And attacking Kenta from behind, and you hear the boos start to rain down. A familiar serenade for the former champion.
Take so much pride in saying that, James.
I just like to enunciate.
Indeed, the longest reigning heavyweight champion in company history, 371 days with successful defenses against the likes of Alec Price, Nick Wayne, Michael Oku, JT Thorne, Vinny Massaro, Kevin Knight. Despite his attitude, Titus Alexander was arguably the most dominant champion in company history.
He holds the record for the most successful title defenses in West Coast Pro history. That is true. And he can say nothing about Titus Alexander's just world of talent. He is as top tier as it gets, but it's his attitude and how he carries himself that gets him into trouble, and you're starting to see that now.
How interesting that Titus Alexander is currently in the ring with Kenta, a man who cut his teeth in Pro Wrestling Noah, made a name for himself in Pro Wrestling Noah, because who just returned from an excursion of Japan, namely in Pro Wrestling Noah, but the franchise himself, Titus Alexander.
That's right. It's, as you see now, Kenta sort of showing up Titus a little bit and just about kicked the former champion's mouth off. Certainly would be an improvement if he did just that. And now a flurry of strikes, but finger to the eye. Titus Alexander employing the old family tactics, the shortcuts. Look at that. There you see Titus tried to get Kenta over, but able to put a stop to it and just slapping the former champion across the face, knocking the taste right out of his mouth.
I thought Kevin Blackwood was coming in to face Kenta finally, but instead beelining for Chris Hero, and now getting a taste of both of these men, both of these legends. How about the wars that these two men have waged over the years, James Kincaid?
Blackwood in a bad way and just got thrown into his own partner, and you're right. I mean, that's what I think led Chris Hero to pick Kenta, that mutual respect, knowing that, hey, I need a partner that can help me humble two incredibly talented but egomaniacal guys. Nobody better than somebody I've gone to war with a number of times.
Over the course
like
of the last
Kenta.
20 years in Kenta's native Pro Wrestling Noah, Hero telling us earlier on tonight, one of the best matches of his career, one of his favorite matches in the HD Net era of Ring of Honor.
And that's saying something. You talk about the body of work of Chris Hero, and Kenta right now holding court at the expense of Titus Alexander.
And right now, the veterans, the legends, in the form of Hero and Kenta with full control, teaching the young guns a lesson here.
And Titus trapped in the corner. Elbow to the face for good measure from Kenta, and then just a vicious chop from Hero.
How long do you think Hero's wanted to do that to the former West Coast Pro Heavyweight Champion?
I'm sure Chris Hero is reveling in this a little bit, no doubt about it, just as I'm sure Blackwood and Alexander sort of are licking their chops at the chance to get their hands on the boss as well. But right now, it is Chris Hero's world. What a kick! Just kicking Titus out of the air, and on down to the mat goes the franchise.
That's the thing, if you've never had the privilege of watching a Chris Hero match, he's very clearly a big guy, a strong guy, but he is as quick and as athletic as they come. Truly the most well-rounded professional wrestler you will ever find.
Hero starting to play, I'd say, a little bit of bully ball here on Titus Alexander, teaching him a lesson as you see the knee pad down, exposing. That's going to be perhaps bone on face.
Yeah,
for Titus Alexander.
Indeed.
Yes, rearranging the franchise. Got him on the jaw, maybe clip the nose. I'm trying to keep my eye on, see if Titus might, maybe a little bit of blood. We'll see. Something to keep an eye on. But right now, Chris Hero in control.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. The knee, one of the hardest bones in the body. The face, one of the most sensitive parts of the body. A lethal combination for the franchise.
Titus in a bad way right now.
I mean, he already did. He told us he was pissed off that Hero made him come home early, but Titus definitely wishes he was back in Japan right about now.
Well, being introduced to the Japanese boot of Kenta, and back to being an illegal man, and Titus is just trapped in a torture chamber with Hero and Kenta right now.
Yeah, one of the finest exports of the land of the rising sun. Kenta systematically dissecting Alexander here.
Neckbreaker from Kenta. Titus is down. Is he out? Not yet for 3. Just getting that left shoulder up. Now this time Kenta able to waylay Blackwood, turning that around from earlier in the matchup.
Yeah, giving Blackwood a little bit of a taste of his own medicine here, saying if you won't come to me, I'll come to you.
And Titus staggering up to his feet. Wild swing and a miss right into the DDT from Kenta, spiking the former champion dead center of the black and blue, and there's Blackwood to break up the pin. Gotta believe the 3 count was coming there.
I mean, James Kincaid, this one has been all the veterans thus far. Kenta and Hero have dominated this matchup.
Yeah, it's going exactly as Hero and Kenta planned thus far.
And you know, Kincaid, I'm curious about this. Blackwood very clearly does not, oh, hold on, maybe they can go to sleep.
Could be go to sleep for Titus, but Blackwood rushing in to save his partner and just about kick Hero's head off. And now, taking his eye off of Titus for one moment, Titus hits that beautiful and devastating drop kick, and Kenta is down. And I'll give Kevin Blackwood credit for charging in to save his partner, absolutely kicking the head off of Chris Hero. And, you know, even though he ate one from Kenta in his own right, might be the tide turner in the matchup.
Yeah, talk about one of the most beautiful drop kicks in professional wrestling. You're talking about Titus Alexander, and James, I think he spoke to it a few moments ago. Titus's nose is busted open. You saw him wiping some blood on that wrist tape. He is dripping, man.
That is definitely something to keep your eye on. The longer this match goes, the more blood he will be losing. People react differently to when that happens. I've seen Titus Alexander get busted open before and, you know, still maintain and go on to victory. Same with Kevin Blackwood.
And now Kevin Blackwood wants in this matchup. Now, once Kenta's been neutralized by the franchise, now Kevin Blackwood wants to pick the bones. All right.
Trapped in the corner, and now the aesthetic crippler starting to ply his trade at the expense of Kenta into the cover.
Again,
not yet. I think that was more just sort of symbolic than anything from Blackwood.
Yes, saying, I know I can beat you, trying to get in the head of Kenta. You know, we talk about how this is, or I guess I should say was, Kevin Blackwood's dream match, at least at one point. He said that he wants to fill the void that Kenta and Hero left in professional wrestling, that him and Titus are better than Kenta has ever been, and he's going to make his dream their nightmare.
You know, I think Kevin Blackwood is dreaming about that.
Hold on, Hero intervening here, very frustrated.
Yeah, trying to help out Kenta, but getting cut off at every turn, and Sparky Ballard keeping Hero in his corner, but with Sparky's back turn, Titus Alexander and Blackwood just teeing off on Kenta.
Well, listen, James, Hero knows better than that. I understand it's easy for me to say sitting at the booth, but he's a veteran of over 25 years. But he knows the second he enters that matchup, especially against competitors like Titus Alexander and Kevin Blackwood, they're going to use the numbers game.
But again, I mean, it's been very frustrating for him because he knows the kind of underhanded tactics that Blackwood and Titus are employing. Right into the cover after the double team, still only two. Kenta really needs to make a tag here.
Well, not only the type of underhanded tactics they're employing in this matchup, but the type of underhanded tactics, the type of cockiness they've employed for the entirety of their time, I should say, in West Coast Pro. This one has been bubbling for a very, very long time.
Blackwood, I think, might be finding out that Kenta is not to be toyed with here. Kenta starting to weather just staggered back into the corner. I spoke too soon. I thought maybe Kenta was finding signs of life. And now look at Titus just cheap shotting Kenta.
Now listen, Blackwood doing exactly what he said he was going to do to Kenta. He's making his dream Kenta's nightmare.
And once again, Hero sent to the outside. Hero's losing control. Hero just launching a chair from the outside in. And Titus Alexander, Hero is losing it here.
I mean, Hero's lucky if he doesn't get himself disqualified.
No doubt about it.
He's got to be very careful.
And Titus Alexander, love him or hate him, got to believe catching that chair now, mocking Chris Hero. That's only going to serve to, poke the bear more. Chris Hero, I think he needs to take a seat, take a breath, and sort of control his emotion a little bit here.
Well, James, he may need to take a breath, but Kenta desperately needs a tag. He's in a bad way here.
Hero trying to will Kenta to make that tag, trying to help his partner, but Hero has essentially been neutralized, and Kenta is getting brutalized.
Yeah, I gotta say, we may not like it, all right? You may take great pleasure in mocking the man, but the underhanded tactics, the ego of Kevin... Oh, hold on here.
Kenta down. Will it be 3-0?
The ego of Titus Alexander is paying dividends. He has gotten in Chris Hero's head. You have to give him that. I don't like it.
No,
you got to give him that.
Absolutely. He's gotten under the skin of Chris Hero, and it is paying big-time dividends in that matchup because Kenta's got nowhere to go. He's been isolated. He is stuck in the wrong part of the ring, the black side of the black and blue, the dark side, if you will. That is where Titus Alexander and Kevin Blackwood reside. And Kenta has just got to score with anything to create some type of breathing room.
And indeed,
get a tag.
Embracing the dark side here tonight are Titus Alexander and Kevin Blackwood. I think you mentioned it a few moments ago that Titus Alexander pouring blood out of his nose. Maybe that inspired him, but maybe this disrespect from Titus inspired Kenta here, James.
Yeah, Kenta starting to let that adrenaline take over. It can do wonders, as my broadcast colleague Todd Kennelly might say. Kenta maybe seizing an opening here, tornadoing, hanging. Titus up over that top rope, in charges Blackwood. Kenta now with the opening.
Hanging the throat of Titus Alexander, taking the wind out of the franchise there with that tornado DDT.
Yeah, and maybe shutting him up a little bit too. Side Russian leg sweep, Titus is down. Is this the opening that Kenta needs?
Kenta must be a Bonnie Tyler fan because he's holding out for a hero, and we're gonna get one.
It's gotta be sure, it's gotta be soon, and Chris Hero is damn sure larger than life.
Titus Alexander misses, and a big boot from the big man.
Chris Hero getting exactly what he wants. All that frustration now being taken out on Titus Alexander and Kevin Blackwood. What a senton from Hero.
You know, you talk about songs, the only one that matters is Hero's entrance music, the first lyric. Chris is awesome, and that on full display.
Crowd coming to life. Titus could be out. No.
What a flurry from Chris Hero. It is so great to have the knockout artist back in a professional wrestling ring. What a time to be alive.
Seizing the pendulum of momentum single-handedly, Chris Hero. He's just coming unglued, being trapped on the outside, getting cheap-shotted, throwing that chair in the ring, and now, like I said, taking out those frustrations at the moment on the franchise Titus Alexander.
That is why Titus's disrespect is a double-edged sword. Sure, here, hold on.
Look at death blow, maybe there. Titus caught him backslide. This is how they're going to win. No.
It's a double-edged sword. Titus almost made Hero get himself disqualified, but also when Hero finally got in the matchup, well, you're seeing what they have to deal with right now.
Yeah, exactly. Fury from Chris Hero just upside the head of Blackwood. I've never seen just an open hand strike like that to Blackwood do that to him. My goodness. And Hero, Hero.
Look at the strength, just deadlifting Blackwood.
Deadly intentions from Chris Hero. Rearranging Blackwood, gonna be 3, no. Take nothing away from the resolve of Blackwood, able to kick out of that. And the crowd again coming to life for their hero.
Yeah, you saw some frustration creeping into the mind of the wrestling genius here, but Chris Hero luckily has the West Coast flock firmly behind him and has to feed off of that against the aesthetic crippler.
Chris Hero in full control, but what do you call it, the commentator curse?
Commentator's curse, yes, sir.
Oh, maybe not yet. Blackwood tried to put the brakes on and just ate an absolutely unbelievable shot for his trouble.
Well, we also have to point out, James Kincaid, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, this is a tag team match, and Hero, a decorated tag team wrestler. You think back to his time as one half of the Kings of Wrestling alongside Claudio Castagnoli? Oh, my God.
Incredibly accomplished in whatever he has set his mind to do. The wrestling genius has done it all, and right now he is destroying Kevin Blackwood, but out of nowhere, Blackwood with the counter and into the cover. Blackwood gonna steal it from Hero here, no.
The power from Kevin Blackwood is unbelievable, James.
The snap power from Kevin Blackwood, able to turn that around in the blink of an eye and nearly planting Hero for 3 there.
Nearly only counts in horseshoes and hand grenade. You can see, as much as it took out of Hero, that suplex took quite a bit out of Kevin Blackwood here.
Blackwood looking to follow up here now. Those kicks, Hero eating them. But it's, I think, firing up Hero perhaps as he's trying to fight his way back up to his feet.
Yeah, Hero knows how to deal with kicks, whether against the American Dragon or hell, his tag team partner tonight, Kenta.
Well said, he's seen it all, he's taken it all. What a kick to the head.
Off comes the elbow pad, looking to put Kevin Blackwood to sleep.
KO, Black, no.
And it would have been. I mean, Kevin Blackwood is knocked out cold, James. Kincaid got those donut eyes all glazed over.
Oh, took your eye off the ball. That's how you get hurt, Titus.
And essentially,
These two might be going home in butcher paper when Chris Hero's done with them. My goodness.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And look at Chris Hero. I think he wants Kenta to rejoin the fray here.
They might be calling bedtime, perhaps here.
Give Kevin Blackwood a melatonin. It's about that time.
Oh,
whoa,
malfunction
whoa.
there as Blackwood is able to escape there. No ill intent, but look, again, these two are not exactly, frequent tag team. Oh my goodness, Hero just clocked Kenta.
Well, James Kincaid, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the last time these two teamed was in July of 2017, over 6 years ago.
And it didn't go well, and it's not going well in there right now as they're starting to tee off on each other. What the hell is going on? And Blackwood was loving it. Look, Titus and Blackwood are loving it.
These two men are tag team partners.
This thing has just devolved.
Oh, but Hero and Kenta realizing their mistake.
Oh, back on the same page and back on the attack are Hero and Kenta. And, maybe just, sort of just taking things and getting back on the same page here as tag team partners.
Listen,
have to do it in an unorthodox way.
No kidding. Oh, my goodness. Float over DDT there from Kenta.
Rope assisted, and you see the pupils of Blackwood starting to spin in his head like saucers.
James, you said it earlier. These men they're not friends per se. They have respect for each other over the course of 2 decades of waging war, but they're not going to go over a drink after the show. They're not going to post pictures on social media here. And that respect is definitely being tested here.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple miscommunications in there, and then you just had to take out their frustrations. There's been a lot of it to go around as Kenta was going off the top looking for a stomp.
Kenta was going for Kevin Blackwood's signature double foot stomp, a double foot stomp he has made a career out of hitting from absolutely everywhere.
Kenta did his homework and was not above a little bit of mind games himself. Didn't pay off, but will this? Taking down Blackwood.
And in comes Alexander.
Titus charging in, handspring, gonna look for that cutter, and he hits it. Signature offense from Titus Alexander, but lying in wait. Chris Hero gonna go for it again and just clobbered Titus from behind.
Handspring directly into the elbow.
And now a stomp from Blackwood.
Can hit it from absolutely anywhere, but Hero rolls out before he can capitalize.
Chaos reigning at Monster, and another calamity of humanity in West Coast Flock. Won't you lend your lungs to me? Unbelievable action every which way you look. Hero on the outside, Alexander on the outside. Kenta and Blackwood struggling to get to their feet in the center of the ring. Blackwood up first, barely.
He's on spaghetti legs. He's
trying to find his
here.
footing, but now starting to size up Kenta.
I mean, you gotta think, despite the bravado, this is a moment that Kevin Blackwood has been envisioning for years. Probably since he watched tapes or YouTube videos of the old Chris Hero Kenta matches from Ring of Honor.
Yeah, and I think in a lot of ways, perhaps so laser focused that, oh, look at them going down just nose to nose. Was he maybe just too obsessed with Kenta here? We'll see as they start to trade kicks. Kenta starting to impose his will, blocking Blackwood's kick, scoring with his own, and you see Blackwood tried to fire up, but nothing doing. Just too much on those kicks from Kenta. Blackwood doubled over.
At a certain point, the adrenaline just gives way, and it might be time, James.
Kenta was sensing it. Blackwood knew it too, did everything he could to get out of it. Oh, and a kick to the side of the head. And Blackwood gonna try and plant Kenta with the brainbuster now.
Did Kevin Blackwood just put Kenta to sleep?
Hit him with the brainbuster, and Blackwood looking to put the finishing touches on Kenta here. What a victory this would be for the aesthetic crippler. No more searching. He has found it. It is victory over Kenta. No, it is not. Not yet.
Kevin Blackwood, milliseconds away.
Kevin Blackwood is signaling for the go to sleep. Kevin Blackwood is going to add the ultimate insult and exclamation mark to this matchup at the expense of his one-time hero, mentor of Sal. No, Kenta able to catch it. Kenta blocked it.
A fool's error from Kevin Blackwood.
No one would know better how to escape the go-to-sleep than Kenta.
He created the move.
And now unloading on the arrogant, the brash, the insolent Blackwood. Kenta making Blackwood pay for every thought, for every insult.
I think right now Kevin Blackwood's dream is becoming his nightmare, James Kincaid.
Into the cover, deep hook. No, not 3.
And look at Kenta.
But Kenta is wide awake, but Blackwood might not be for long. Kenta saying it's over.
Saying this is how it's done. Let me show you, whippersnapper.
Gets Blackwood up and raking at the eyes. Was Blackwood, and now in comes Titus Alexander. Tag was made from the top rope. Nobody home for Alexander. Able to roll through, able to catch Kenta. Mercy! Has Kenta dead to rights? A roar of defiance from the former champion. Looking perhaps Chaos Theory here. Tag was made.
Titus doesn't realize
Titus didn't see it. Chaos Theory connects. Tag was made, and the senton from Hero.
The past versus the present of pro wrestling. Noah cut off by the knockout artist. No!
And once again, looking to KO the former champion was Hero. And a snap German from Titus. Running right back into the knee. Hero tried to roll through it, not to be. Titus gonna beat Chris Hero here. And eyelash. Ever so close, look at the eyes. Sparky Ballard was getting ready to hit the mat there for 3. Hero just got the shoulder up.
And in comes Kevin Blackwood here. He may not have been able to put away Kenta, but he's looking to do the same to Chris Hero. Look at these two brash young guns. These egomaniacs here, taking all their frustrations out on the matchmaker.
It's starting to slip away, it seems, from Hero and Kenta as once again Blackwood and Titus in full control.
Hold on, Hero catches the leg.
Hero taking it to both Blackwood and Titus, setting them up and knocking them, holding each other up, and still on their feet are Titus and Blackwood, but dazed, dizzied, and rallying. Still rallying, Blackwood and Titus.
The numbers game always catches up.
Well, now it's 2-on-2 in stereo. Go to sleep to Titus. Oh, Blackwood able to escape. It was night-night for Titus. Oh, and now it could be night-night for Blackwood.
But Chris Hero's not done.
Blackwood setting him up here. Death blow from Chris Hero.
Count to 100, Gil.
Put it on the board. Hero and Kenta are victorious.
Here are your winners, Kenta and
Hero and Kenta prevail after just an absolutely wild tag team main event. At one point, it broke down to where Hero and Kenta were attacking one another, and in some ways, maybe that was the turning point, caused them to get back on the same page, and then at that point, they were able to weather everything that Blackwood and Titus threw at them.
Perhaps some old wounds never heal, but nevertheless, Chris Hero and Kenta, if for one night only, picking up a huge victory in this, our main event.
Chris Hero standing tall in the center of the ring, beckoning his tag team partner Kenta to, I imagine, do the same. What an incredible main event here. West Coast Pro Monster as Hero and Kenta locking eyes in victory.
And that is Sparky, not Gil, Sparky raising the hands of Kenta and Hero after a hard-fought victory. James Kincaid, what can be said that already hasn't? 2 living legends in the pantheon of professional wrestling. What a privilege to have them here. What a privilege to be on the call.
And absolutely, 2 legends, victory, and Chris Hero has something to say.
West Coast Pro's home is in San Francisco. Right now, we're in Los Angeles. that your homie, Kenta? You know this man? He's wearing sunglasses inside, so I don't know if I trust him. Hey, you wanna go fuck him up? San Francisco and Los Angeles, right? As a matter of fact, and I've never partaken in the chant myself, but in San Francisco, some of the fans like to say, fuck LA. Hey, no, listen, I'm from Ohio. So all I'm gonna say is this, all the differences between San Francisco, the Bay, Los Angeles, the City of Angels, is they're both motherfucking West Coast.
We can't follow that either. So we will say goodnight to you now. Jordan Castle, what an incredible night of action it's been. I know it was very special for you. Thank you so much for sharing the desk with me.
Thank you, James Kincaid.
An incredible moment to close the show in a night full of incredible action. West Coast Pro Monster, certainly unforgettable. We will be back January 17th, back in San Francisco for West Coast Pro Wrestling Ill-Mannered. And until then, I thank you all for sharing your passion with us. Gladiators, I salute you. And until next time, I say good night and Godspeed.